Hey, it's Tuesday, October the 25th, 2016. You're listening to the Giant Bombcast, your one-stop shop for all video game-themed onesies and other adult child apparel.
Mm-hmm. What's the appeal of the onesie? What's the selling point
I mean,
there?
it's
like
one piece of clothing.
Sweats for your whole body.
Isn't that more complicated than just putting on a hoodie and sweatpants?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's actually
it's
two pieces of clothing there.
It's one item. You just
It's-
put,
Yeah, but you have
slip
to
right
for
into it.
kids.
But then if you have to take a crap, you got to take this whole thing off instead of just pulling your damn pants
Not
down.
if you get one with the flap.
you should probably get some flaps. Dan,
1930s cartoon.
I think you've got some actually that have
onesie?
the flap. Yeah, I think you've got a Canada onesie.
No, that's the Canadian guy that was in the PAX thing. This
Oh,
year.
oh,
that's
that
not
wasn't
me.
you?
No,
Oh,
no,
gotcha.
no. I
Sorry.
wasn't at PAX this year.
My bad.
Do onesies have footies on them?
Yeah.
I think they can.
Not open feet?
I think
Any onesie worth its
traditionally
salt.
they would, but there are certainly some that don't.
Let's maybe
know.
go to some breaking onesie news. Actually, that may have been pulled at
It
this
did.
point.
It did. It got deleted last night, not long after it was posted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's certainly still floating around quite a bit.
Fuck, man. Like for a game where they were already kind of had people concerned about like, oh, I don't, World War I's kind of dark, man. I don't know if you know this,
Like
but
maybe have a little reverence.
Hopefully they'll treat
please.
it with some, hopefully they'll treat it properly because World War I is a thing, which is exactly how they said it. World War I is a thing, even back then.
I
That's
think
how
that's
they
the
referred to it.
subquote
Yeah.
on the box.
Yeah. Than to just have like, here's Peter Moore wearing a Battlefield 1.
Was it him?
I assume it was. It was on
I
his
think
Twitter
the
account.
back. I think
Yeah.
the person's back was turned to the camera.
I like to
I
think it
assumed
was,
it was
Peter
him,
Moore wearing
yeah.
this thing, but fuck if I know.
Also, that thing looks dumb.
It's a onesie.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, even for like onesie standards, it looks pretty dumb.
that shit is stupid.
I mean, at
Just
least
a bunch of sparks on the back.
And for it to be like, you could hold a knife and a bag of Doritos.
Yeah, it's a name
like
drop
this,
Doritos.
This like double, triple marketing fucking garbage. What about I'm like video games are video games. I don't think you necessarily have to like treat the subject matter with like pure reverence. There's room for fun.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of overlap between eaters of Doritos and players of Battlefield 1.
Yeah, sure.
And
But
people who want to sit around and lounge.
I guess
Try our great flavor while you play the Great War.
But it was just it's like just what a dumb fucking thing. What a dumb fucking thing.
At least when Microsoft did it, they were able to stay on brand and call it the Xbox onesie.
I think like
the wording in that tweet wasn't even like...
I mean, maybe it only got deleted because of that typo.
because he
honestly.
screwed up. He screwed up
Like
the branding.
onesie.
Yeah, but who knows?
Battlefield 1 onesie doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
No, it's the numeral 1 -SIE.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
how you do it.
But also, I think someone owns the rights to the term onesie, so there may who knows?
Looks
Who
like-
knows?
Looks like you're saying Microsoft officially licensed the term.
I honestly think that no, but I bet that's why you don't hear much about it anymore, and it only happened in like fucking Australia or whatever.
yes.
So, people sometimes have words that like set them off and make them feel fucking gross. Onesie is one of those for me.
What's
It's
there's
just,
another
ugh,
term for it. The
yuck.
snuffle. What's it called? When it's like a blanket.
Snuffle.
No, it was
Snuggie?
a big thing.
Well, Snuggie is a brand. That's a brand.
And that's
Snuggie
not
a
a
onesie?
onesie. No.
Snuggies are blankets that you have.
With
they have
sleeves.
The blanket
That's
with
a
sleeves.
blanket.
Yeah.
Wait,
What's the difference?
That's actually
between
a copyrighted
snuggie and
I thought
term.
blankets and Snuggies were the same thing.
I think they are. I
They
think
are.
Just,
One is
one is branded, and the
Branded?
other one is probably also.
No,
branded.
I think they're both. Yeah.
Okay.
I like Slanket because it sounds so stupid.
I bought a bunch of the Street Fighter Snuggies, which are apparently not Snuggies. Sold them on eBay, and the Snuggie Corporation actually told me, no, you got to take those down because that's not an official Snuggie product.
or rename it to not say the word Snuggie in it.
Exactly.
When did the Doritos flavor stop being Cooler Ranch? And when did it begin being Cooler Ranch? Because it probably started as Cool Ranch,
It did.
and they probably were like, hey, we got Cooler
We got to
Ranch.
amp it up. It was the Attitude Era for Doritos.
Okay, all right.
when they had to kind of like take things to 11 and
Right,
ratchet
right.
it up to Cooler.
But now we're just back to Cool Ranch.
Cooler
I
has
think.
prevailed, and we're back to Cool Ranch now.
Okay. All right. But it was cooler for a long time.
Yeah,
right?
it was.
There's been a recentering of the cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
There was also Nacho Cheesier. That was probably around the same time.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. When
Yeah,
did this all
but-
change?
when like Doritos sales were fucking flagging, and they were like, let's tell people that we're doubling down on that shit, and
Okay.
they changed the names of that shit, and then at some point changed it back. 'cause
What
they
was the
realized
name
it
of the
was stupid.
Capri Sun flavor?
I don't know.
Summer Cooler? It was also
Yeah.
a cooler
Ecto
of some
Sun?
kind. Maybe it was Ecto Cooler.
No, Ecto
That was
Cooler
a slime
Cooler
one.
is a high C product.
Right.
Remember Squeeze-Its?
No.
Yeah.
They had faces. Like the bottles had faces and characters. and you would
is it
drink
those
out of their heads.
shitty little things where you
You
like,
twist them
the
off,
little plastic
and
top?
then you
Like,
squeeze
it's not
it.
like a twist off, but like there's a plastic tab in the top that you
They switched at
uncover
some
the hole
point.
or something. Those things are gross.
No, they had fun characters, and at a certain point, they actually like built the characters' faces into the plastic of the bottle.
Yeah.
So it just felt like you're drinking green apple out of this thing's head.
Yeah, those things were
I love those things.
Delicious. Just pop the skull open and
Yeah.
gulp it down.
Yeah.
We are going to start with news this week on the podcast.
Whoa,
What? Ah, keep it on your
The
toes
hell?
down there. Because it's not every podcast that we have a new console to discuss.
It's true.
So we need to just get right into that. Nintendo unveiled the Switch,
Oh, that. Yeah.
formerly
Yeah.
known as the NX,
Right.
last Thursday.
That Switch.
Kind of,
Switches get stitches.
yes, indeed, kind of an impromptu reveal. It's just
I
like
guess. I don't know.
Wednesday
It was
night,
like-
out of nowhere.
Wednesday night, they were like, I mean, there were rumors floating around. Some
Yeah.
people were starting to say, "Hey, we hear it's this week."
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then like from official announcement to like, oh, by the way, wake up early tomorrow and watch this thing.
Right. Like the time from like, "Hey, we'll have a thing" to the thing appearing was like 12
I think on
hours.
some level it's like they're realizing that like people will watch this shit no matter
Yeah.
what. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like and people are like, this seems like a bad way to succeed. Or I don't know about it. It's like whatever. They'll announce the price. Pre-orders will open. Pre-orders will sell out. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like it's.
Watching the way this thing went down was crazy in a like social media sense.
I can't
'cause
believe
it's
they
a-
haven't announced games yet.
Right,
It's like
it's-
fucking.
It's a 3.5-minute video that they just threw on YouTube,
Yeah.
but like that's all you need, right? Like,
Yeah, a new
like,
Mario
like,
game.
They were like,
if
all
you've-
right, you will learn everything we want you to know from this 3.5 minutes of footage.
And for something where they've got to convey an idea about how you will use the device, I think that's actually. I think they did it exactly right. This was basically the video I expected it to be of watch someone pick this thing up and walk away with it and
then-
then keep using it.
and then walk
go
into
to
the
your
middle,
roof,
and then walk into the middle of an arena and sit down and play
Yeah.
Splatoon in front of 20,000
or
people.
your rooftop parties.
Like all that stuff. All that stuff aside, like that's the stuff that they needed to kind of get out and say about that.
The best shot in that whole thing was the guy with like Zelda in the background and then lifting the tablet and seeing the same frame immediately jump to the tablet. Like that's all you need.
Right.
Screen
Yeah.
images simulated.
Right, of
Well,
course.
yeah.
But something that says, "Hey, this is a thing that does both of the things," is the message they need to convey to people.
Yeah. Here's
And-
every single possible use case we could think of in its own little vignette.
right.
Playing basketball,
Yeah.
hanging out on rooftops,
Playing real basketball, and
Yeah.
you're like, let's go sit down and play some
Yeah.
fake basketball.
Yes, showing some of the like controller stuff and the notion that like two of them would be able to talk to each other wirelessly, like kind of just getting a lot of those use cases out of the way. There's a lot
Totally.
of questions they didn't necessarily answer, but they've got time, right?
Yeah,
you know,
there was certainly a lot of questions that I've got for it. namely battery life.
Right,
Yeah,
of
I mean,
course,
we
yeah.
can't. haven't
There's
even-
going to be
haven't
so
even
many
started on
things
that list yet.
that may or may not be deal breakers for me. We'll see. But what they've shown so far, like this is exactly what I want.
It's exactly what was rumored, and it's a cool idea, but yeah, it's all going to be in the execution.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's I like I said, kind of have been saying. I think we've all been kind of saying this for like a year or something now. Is that the idea of unifying around one platform instead of like, oh, half of our games are going to go to this handheld, and then half of them are going to go to this other platform, and neither of them are going to be perfect for you. But hey, you want to play Nintendo's games, so you're going to end up with both. Like
I want to
this
play
is
Monster Hunter games.
yeah, this
what I'm
is them. Like this is them. I think potentially doing a solid for Monster Hunter players, because that means now you can play it on a goddamn TV.
Exactly.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
But Monster Hunter only leads on the platforms it does because those platforms are fucking everywhere. Though,
Yeah.
right. Like that kind of depends on
Yeah.
the Switch selling the gangbusters they need to put Monster Hunter on it.
Generally, yeah. But also it depends on it selling those numbers in Japan, which is where you're going to want to probably still have a handheld as opposed to
Yeah.
a console because of the way that market has gone. So this to me is a worldwide solution to the issue of what does Nintendo do next.
Sure.
In an arena where they've got they've got a mobile or a handheld presence in Japan. People here a little iffy on high end portables, I guess I would say, and by iffy I mean not that interested. Yeah.
Are iPhone games and like mobile games huge in Japan the way they
Oh, yeah.
are here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a
Huge.
worldwide
They
thing.
are, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, phones for a long time. Don't forget, like light years ahead of what we had here until the
Right,
iPhone. Right.
definitely.
Like, Japan had amazing phones
That Docomo.
ages ago.
All that shit. Yeah. Yeah, totally. So yeah, I don't know. I think that they're doing what they can with the lane that they seem to have carved out for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to go full mobile. They're not going to compete with the PS4 and Xbox One in this weird kind of mid-cycle. Like, they're not going to go do all the R&D to have a console that goes over the top of those. It's just not what they're built for. So they're unifying their product lines, and they're kind of producing this single unit that will get out there and be like, hey, here's what you need to play Nintendo's games. End of story. Done. And I think that's a good place for them to be. It's a narrow place for them to be compared to some
kind
of
of walking a tightrope, right?
Yeah, but also I think with where the market is at right now and the level of interest in their games and that sort of thing, I think that this is the smartest thing they could have done. And knowing that you can pick up one device and get all of their output on it, I think is a great thing. There's a lot of ins and outs, right? There's I think the detachable controllers look super lame. I think that
you mean individually, like if you turn them sideways.
I felt the same way about turning Wii controllers sideways. It was just like this is stupid. Whatever. We don't need this.
I actually have the YouTube video running in front of me, just looping, and I just saw the two dudes playing Mario Kart in the minivan. Yeah, and their hands are squished together on these tiny.
That's
little...
like a non-optimal solution to a problem that I'm not sure actually exists.
Right,
but sure, why not? Why not do that? But there's battery life. There's the notion of just like what changes when you dock and undock. Is it in fact a touch screen, which they haven't necessarily gotten out and said?
Yeah, they left a lot of those details hanging.
A lot of the discussion from people who have done like good reporting around this in months previously have said it is a touch screen.
I mean, it would be fucking insane if it wasn't at this point.
But consider the idea that like if that thing is something that you would have docked, you're no longer touching it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then it forces them to come up with two full interfaces for a lot of games. And it forces you to like it's one of those things where like Mario Maker, you wouldn't do that without a touch screen, but like also like now you would have to play that game undocked.
Yeah,
which means you would have one screen, which that should be fine, right? Like I'm typically looking down at the gamepad.
I don't ever want to undock that thing ever.
Right. Like, well, I'm not quite going to follow you there.
Like, I will in cases where it makes sense, but like generally speaking, I don't want to ever have to like if I have to like take that thing out of a dock for like interface changes. And lose the ability to play on a TV, I think they're fucking up.
That thing is a failure. If for that concept to work, they can never make a game that requires you to pull it out of the dock. Like it has to work both ways, why did they do it?
But also, I think it'll result in cases where you would have a touchscreen interface like a Mario Maker. You would then be creating a non-touch interface for that, which I think would be subpar to the point of not being worth it.
Yeah.
So you would certainly undock to gain the touchscreen abilities in games where that stuff is relevant. But then I think you're kind of you're losing the ability to see that stuff on a TV unless they come up with a bunch of cable solutions or unless you can wirelessly tether to the base.
Right. If you could just buy like a cable that would attach it there, and
that would be a wire. But yes, but I'm saying like unless it's either cables that plug into it that then just duplicate the functionality of the dock, or the ability to cast to the dock.
So they need that anyway,
remotely.
right? Like you want to be able to. I saw people on Twitter saying like, "Hey, for people that travel all the time, like, please tell me I don't have to carry this dock with me to use it in a hotel room." Like, you need some kind of portable like cable solution to plug into.
You
a TV.
would hope, but bare minimum, they would have the ability to charge it outside of the dock. A charging cable or something that you could bring with you.
Sure.
Whether you can hook it up to a TV without the dock or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like so much of Nintendo's first-party stuff recently has been light on gamepad stuff, like touch stuff, like. Mario Kart has a horn. Paper Mario has that stupid, combat system.
Totally.
Like,
and maybe it ends up being like 95% of games you never care.
But like
I'm
Mario
specifically
Maker
talking about Mario Maker
Yeah,
here, where that's just like, okay, like I love Mario Maker. I would love to see that on more platforms and see them expand it and do all sorts of stuff. But at the same time, like this is a non-optimal solution. Like the NX, the Switch is not a great. It's not a perfect solution for that style of system.
A very specific thing.
The way the Wii U is. You know?
So there are a zillion rumors swirling around this thing. Let's Play Video Games. Laura Dale has been kind of leading the charge. She seems to have pretty good sources on a lot of this stuff. So, I mean, grain of salt, it's not confirmed, but they're reporting, I think it was yesterday, that the right Joy-Con, because that's what those things are called.
The Joy-Con.
Joy-Con.
The things that come off the side.
Those are the little slidey
That's
sidebar.
not the controller
Joy-Con
attachment
L.
thing,
That's
right?
the Joy-Con grip.
Okay, that's
you
the Joy-Con
attach it
grip.
to the Joy-Con grip.
TM.
TM.
So she's reporting that the right Joy-Con is going to have infrared functionality built in, like a Wii remote for pointing.
Oh,
And they're kind of theorizing that might sort of take the place of touch when the thing is in the dock.
So then can
Like you
they
would touch it when it's out, but you would point.
I mean, that's still not going to be great for.
That's
like,
It's not-
no,
it's
that-
not-
that's
it's not
a
perfect,
bad.
but-
That's not a. I don't know. I definitely don't want that.
No, the theory is that might make up for that.
I
I don't want any of that stuff. I want controller stuff.
So, yeah.
That's it. I don't even
Right.
want touchscreen.
Let's
All
talk
I
about-
want is like if you are going to say, "Hey, this is the Nintendo."
I would rather-
this is where
yeah.
we're developing all of our games.
Absolutely,
put
yeah.
everything toward controller.
I would rather see them like just dedicate themselves in one direction or the other than have a situation where you have to remove it from the dock to play it optimally.
Then you are cutting off backwards compatibility for DS and Wii U stuff, which I don't know how
Yeah.
important.
I mean, the
that's
architecture's
gonna be
They're
to
changed.
them.
changing
It's not-
architecture.
it's
That's not going to be built in. Like
Yeah.
at best, I would say they port those games and charge you again for them.
And that
Right.
looks like what Splatoon and Mario Kart and maybe like enhanced versions of those games. And,
have people done that like intensive footage analysis? And,
so
and
there's stuff in that
On
Mario
those
Kart
simulated
stuff
screens?
that's not. Yeah,
I mean-
there's stuff in the Mario Kart footage that is not the last Wii U Mario Kart.
Okay.
So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
so
But
that's
who's
not-
to say those are even games? Those could
Right.
just be renders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what a Mario game might look like.
Pretty
on
sure,
the
that Mario
NX.
pretty
game
sure
looked-
those are all games at this
Switch.
point.
Yeah, that
but-
looked new enough.
Yeah.
That Mario game's real. I
That
think.
Mario game in particular, like you could easily imagine they started work on a 3D Mario for the Wii U, and then when it was obvious where that platform was going, they just held it back. And
Could be.
Maybe they're deep into it. Maybe they
Yeah.
launched with a new 3D Mario on this thing.
I would assume actually that all of those games would be at or near launch.
Yeah.
The stuff that they showed, but I guess actually maybe saturating.
Can you imagine
some
if
of
they
their
launched
biggest-
with Zelda and
Oh,
new Mario?
that'd be
Like,
amazing.
that would
I
be
think that's
totally
probably.
insane.
I mean, like Zelda's kind of a halfway launch, right? Because it's not.
yeah,
That's
If it's still a new big ass Zelda game,
yeah,
and a new
it's
Mario
a
game
brand
at
new
launch,
game.
like
Like that. I mean, nobody's ever played it before.
it's a brand new game that'll be on the Wii U. as
Sure,
well,
right.
sure,
Like,
but-
that's like saying Twilight Princess was.
Well,
I guess
take
but,
the
but,
console
like,
thing away, it's still a new Zelda game and a new Mario game.
It's a new
on the
Zelda
same
game,
day.
and you could like take it with you. Like that's all automatically
Sure.
better than the Wii U version.
Yeah.
Plus, like all the rumors are saying, this thing is not going to be dramatically more powerful than the Wii U. Like somewhat, but
Yeah.
not like amazingly so.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be portable. They have to
And
be conservative with that stuff.
if their pricing holds over the last few consoles, it'll be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Wii U launched at what, $350?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
That's a good point.
yeah.
I think.
But
I
if
think
this is the
that's-
same guts inside,
I don't know. I could see them going $299, $349
Mhm.
with like a storage space split.
Yeah.
SD cards.
Yeah. So what do we know? It takes cartridges. It sounds like it will probably have SD card support.
It takes cartridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it takes
There's-
like
they show
cards,
that
like
in
or
the,
cards,
uh,
DS style.
like-
I
Yeah,
thought that was an SD card.
no,
No, that was
those-
the
those-
game
those
code.
are the games.
Proprietary.
Oh, wow.
Whatever
Yeah.
those. Yeah. DS.
Yeah, we don't know anything about SD storage, yes or no.
Okay.
But there is
Or
that.
officially.
I think that's one of the rumors I saw. Is that,
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know. But
It's,
there is
it
a
seems
shot.
likely they have definitely supported SD in some of their previous
Yeah,
machines.
yeah.
I would maybe say that it might be in their best interest to close off support for open standard cards that are user accessible for reasons of systems integrity and security.
Sure.
What are you talking about?
Given what
Never heard
has
of that.
been happening lately on some of their other platforms.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
But you know,
But yeah, there's a shot in that footage of sticking a game card
Right.
in there.
I thought that was an SD card.
yeah,
no,
that's,
no.
that's,
I think you can see it looks
Yeah,
kind of
okay. That's the-
proprietary.
them's the games.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like carts.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Obviously, you can't put discs in a portable thing; it'll destroy the battery.
Right, but also, you know, they could have all done all kinds of weird stuff, like go internal storage only.
Oh, yeah,
and
go
put
download
put
only.
a drive on
Yeah.
the base, or go download only. But also, you know, hey, you can install from these discs, or you know, there's stuff they could have done.
I mean,
if they
Nintendo
wanted to
always
get around
conservative
that.
with their hardware choices.
Sure.
Like they're not going to let go of physical retail that fast.
Yeah, so I'm curious about the internal storage, and I'm curious about like if they're putting Skyrim on this thing.
Yeah.
Then
Which Bethesda apparently
Yeah.
refuses to confirm.
right, yeah. But they did get out and say like we're happy to support the Switch.
They,
I mean, yeah,
they do say
okay.
they're. Yeah.
I suspect that means it's like something slightly different, or maybe not just Skyrim. I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
Maybe.
It's probably just Skyrim, actually, but whatever.
So what do you guys think of the whole control scheme? Like you've got a screen, you've got two modular control things on the side. Those will fit onto the grip to form like kind of a
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
kind of a makeshift
Yeah,
pro controller.
but they'll also sell a Pro
And then they're
controller.
also
Yeah.
selling like a traditional controller.
I think the gamepad feels fine, and if it's basically just like a gamepad where you go then
Well,
that's all right.
keep in mind
already
that
there's no D-pad.
Yeah, the D-pad is
so
4
you've already
buttons.
you've already
It's not-
lost some.
How often do you use that D-pad?
It's nice to have. It's nice to have a D-pad. And
The Pro Controller-
Is that an analog stick?
Nintendo makes good D-pads.
Is there a
Nintendo makes
right
good
analog?
D-pads
There is?
that they
Okay.
never use as directional pads.
Mm.
You know,
Except
like they're
for, like,
always
virtual
used for
console
like
stuff.
you know a hit. Yeah, except for that.
Maybe the buttons will be fine, but
The
I think
Pro
they'll be-
Controller
I-
has a D-pad.
it does.
I bet those buttons will be fine for kind of sub-menu navigation
Yeah.
and, you know, like whatever stuff they map to those that is not you moving around.
For like menu navigation, like I actually prefer the segmented buttons.
Yeah,
Those
I
work
think
out really
I think that would make sense. For just where games are at today, I think that makes some sense. Like you lose a good, you know, and maybe they feel fine, but you
Would I play like a platformer, like a traditional like 2D platformer?
exactly, yeah. That's
Hell no.
That's the thing is like, would
Yeah,
you?
it doesn't work out then.
Can you do dragon punches on those 4 buttons? And I will tell you,
I've
as
tried.
someone
It's
who
not
like,
easy.
you can do it. Yeah, it is doable. It's just not necessarily how you'd want to do it. I don't
mean,
care.
looking
Like,
looking at these product shots they put out, like the D-pad buttons
Yeah.
are just as spaced out as the actual face buttons on the other controller.
Right.
Like they're not close together in like a D-pad
Are they
configuration.
Well,
dots?
yeah, because
On the left, are they like
they're,
dots?
They're basically the exact same as
Yeah,
face
they're like
buttons
face buttons.
because the two controllers
wow.
have to come
Okay.
off and then
Right.
be
Oh, and then
be
split.
identical.
you and your Mario Kart buddy have to have
Right.
the same controller.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, they'll also sell a Pro controller
Yeah.
that they showed in that video that I thought looked like the type of bootleg ass controller you
looks
would buy for an
weird.
Android tablet.
That's
but
the
Yeah.
grip, right? That's
Yeah.
the Joy-Con grip?
no, the Joy-Con
no.
grip is the thing that you slide the existing controllers onto. There's also a Pro controller.
Does that come
is a
with it?
Yeah, I
controller.
was just gonna say, do you guys think the grip is packed in?
The
No.
grip,
So the grip is a piece
probably.
of plastic, basically,
Yeah,
right?
the grip is a piece of
Okay.
plastic.
Yeah,
There's-
it might have
Pro
extra, it might have
controller
extra. It hopefully would have extra battery in it and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Because those things are tiny, they're not going to have
Yeah.
a ton of battery in
Maybe.
them.
I
Like,
guess it wouldn't need to come with it because you can detach even when
You
you're
can just
docked.
detach and
You can
play.
detach.
I think there's a
Yeah.
shot of a guy
Yeah,
playing
on a
like
plane.
Wii style, right? Like
Oh, okay.
it's holding 2 separate controllers, like
Yeah.
Right.
like a Wii remote and nunchuck.
Yeah, which you know, yeah, you could do that.
Yeah,
I don't intend to ever like that. That seems like the idea of detaching it and not holding the thing and playing with it seems insane.
I wonder if you slide it into the gamepad thing, if that's actually making an electronic connection to it, or if it's just like a plastic holder, basically. Does it change?
there are
anything?
lights.
share
there,
battery
There are
or-
LEDs
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the grip. Like there's obviously some kind of connection happening
Okay.
with the grip.
But you're talking about
when you slide
Oh,
it into
right,
the
right.
screen, like, is it talking directly to it, or is it still using whatever wireless?
Oh, the wireless. I don't know.
You know, it could
Oh,
just
I
be
see.
like plastic things on the side of the screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, hard to say. I don't
Makes
know.
a loud ass click.
That's good.
no, it
That sounds
doesn't.
good.
Simulated
their
click.
video
Simulated
had some
click.
cool simulated clicks, but yeah.
Uh,
No, I envision this thing staying in the dock almost all of the time and using a Pro controller to play the games on it.
Yeah.
Like
in the
removing-
Gersman household.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
can't
don't-
imagine owning a Switch without that controller.
And if I did take it out, I don't ever envision myself taking the controllers off the sides of that thing. Like I envision myself holding it and
Yeah.
playing it.
Unless they make you, unless some game, well, I guess I don't know how they would do that.
Like
so the
games
weird
that-
thing is-
games that have like motion controls on a portable device
Nah, man.
are games I won't play.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
And they showed the Pro controller in the video?
Yeah.
Did it look
Yeah.
basically like the Wii U Pro controller?
Yes.
No,
Shades of
it's
like an
the
Ouya
the sticks.
controller.
The sticks have moved to a 360 configuration,
Oh,
like
okay,
offset,
all right.
like one
Yeah.
upper left, one lower right.
Is that not how the Pro controller was?
No, I believe the sticks.
Oh, were they like
thumbstick
super
were-
close together?
That
Yeah,
Wii U
thumbstick
Pro
was
controller I always thought was
symmetrical.
fucking
above.
garbage.
I don't hate it.
Are you
I just-
serious?
I just could not
That's-
stand that thing.
It is one of my
Just-
favorite
I thought
controllers.
the D-pad felt bad. It was where I
D-pad was
turned on Nintendo's D-pad. It was like, this just doesn't feel good. The analog sticks, I don't think they felt great.
Man, I stand
the
by, like,
triggers and shoulders.
That's one of my preferred controllers.
Nah, man.
So there are on the tiny guys, the Joy-Cons.
Yes.
Mhm.
There are bumpers and there are triggers.
Is that confirmed? I thought I saw people saying there were just one shoulder button per controller.
It looks
Is
like
that-
they're segmented in the
Okay.
video.
You might be right. It's hard to tell from some of these shots.
But when you're playing using just one, like if you're playing Mario Kart with a buddy, you're turning that so that it's sideways.
So it's on the left
Oh,
or
so
the right?
you're
And
going to
so
have
the-
2 shoulder buttons on one end and none on the other end?
Right, but they'd be in your hand.
Oh, in your
not,
palm?
Not touchable by your
yeah.
fingers.
I mean, they
unless there are also
There's-
buttons on the long side.
I think
you're
they'll
right,
have to
they're-
make
yeah.
so many dumb controller compromises for situations where you're turning that thing sideways that it's going to be a different
Yeah,
thing.
it may
put
not
that
even
on the
have
yeah.
like support for those buttons. Like games may not even like if you
Right.
if
If removed,
multiplayer
this
then
button is dead.
because
or,
the
you
other
know,
thing is like you are losing a second analog stick per person.
Right.
Like when you're playing multiplayer, each person is only getting a joystick and face buttons.
They already have to design around a compromised control scheme.
Yeah.
Look at what they did with the B trigger on the Wii remote. They would frequently have you turn it sideways and have to move your hand awkwardly around and hit that.
Yeah.
So they're not against doing something super dumb with those.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, whatever. Like I think people are hand wringing about like what's third party support going to be, and this is going to get a bit like no, it's nothing. I don't think anything's going to change past launch. I don't know that this necessarily gets third parties back on board in a big way. I think you'll see a lot of indie games, like the sort of stuff that developers were developing for the Vita because they thought it was cool to be on a portable thing. I think this takes that.
Well, but the barrier to entry is lower for someone like that, who is like making AAA games for the PS4 and Xbox One.
Right.
You can say, all right, I know that in either the home or mobile configuration, this thing is able to do 2 joysticks,
right,
face buttons,
yes,
triggers.
Mm-hmm.
So they can feel comfortable developing for that, as opposed to like the
Yeah,
Wii U
but
or the DS.
But the work probably won't just transfer over as easily as it does with like
Certainly
PC
not.
and current
Oh,
consoles.
absolutely.
But having
so
like
it becomes a matter
the
of
Wii
like
and the DS as
totally
separate things.
yes. That is you're right. It is easier than that. But I think you still run into that situation of just like, well, this isn't as powerful, so we then have to do a lot of work to get it running right on this thing. Did they sell enough of these? Are the people who bought these interested in playing this kind of game in the first place, or do they only want to play Nintendo's stuff? It's the same stuff that's been dogging them for generations.
Sure.
So I just don't think that this changes that conversation.
There's a lot of ifs. So I've got
unless it just sells gangbusters.
Right.
If they
Right.
do the numbers, then people will have to at least try developing
initially,
for it.
yeah, but
initially,
but don't
the
forget
Wii-
what happened
exactly,
with the Wii. It's
exactly.
like it was
But the Wii was weird.
It was 2 years
Yes.
of shovelware, and then everybody stopped.
Right.
But the
like
Wii had the
minigame
like
collections.
motion stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
You're right.
But like the Wii U had standard controls in it and stuff like that, and EA sent their dev kits back before the thing even hit shelves.
True.
Like it's, I don't see big developers who are like more risk averse than ever. I don't see them coming to this platform in droves
Immediately.
or I think you see the people cherry picking launch, Ubisofts of the world coming in trying to make money at launch when people are hungry for anything they can get their hands on. But once it kind of settles into that groove, I think that it'll just be the same thing again, and that's fine because I'm interested in playing Nintendo's games. And somewhere down the line, when those maybe aren't on a Nintendo platform, that'll be fine too. But until then, this seems like a cool device that solves Nintendo's problems and unifies their stuff into one platform.
My chief concern, I guess, is that what they had to do to make this whole thing happen with the detachable controllers and the sliding onto the sides and coming home and putting the Joy-Cons onto a central thing, like all that stuff, concessions had to be made for the controllers and for the device. So I think as long as everything really out there for me to say this, as long as everything works, it'll be great.
Right.
But like
yeah.
that's a really fine line to walk, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that you can just detach, like on paper, it's like, oh, you can detach the controller, then everyone can play. But like actually playing with that thing, like that's what I'm the
which
most
games
curious
will
about.
support multiplayer on the same tablet with, here, you take this little one, like that's not going to be a use case that every game's going to support in the first place. That just seems like any of those games, like the EA Sports stuff that was trying to like, hey, turn the controller sideways and you can technically play basketball. Like no one actually wants to do that.
Or Mario Kart, like that's going to feel terrible, drifting or anything like that.
Well, why? It's 4 buttons and an analog stick. You
Yeah,
don't
Mario
need
Kart
anything
works
more
on
Yeah,
than
we
a
always
that.
need the
controller.
trigger for the drifting.
You don't use all 4 buttons in Mario Kart. You can
There's weapon
you can
drifting.
hit X to
Yeah, it would just
to
feel weird
hop.
after all these years of drifting with a trigger.
Maybe
going to,
looking at this thing, maybe those shoulder buttons are positioned in such a way you can use your pinky to hit them.
That feels weird, too,
I don't disagree.
Or maybe
but-
the long side has triggers on the
Yeah.
tops.
Could
We
be.
don't know.
Could be. Yeah, we'll have to see if there are better shots of those out there. They've said they're pretty much done talking about it for this year also.
Did they say this
Yeah,
year?
they're going to
Oh, wow.
have games and stuff like that next year.
So it's
From
got
the sounds of things. So.
4 face buttons, 4 D-pad looking face buttons, a plus, a minus,
Yeah, kind of the
and
equivalent
then
of start and select. There's
a
a home
square
button.
and a circle. Which one of them is a home button?
Yeah,
That seems like home and, well, plus and
Other
minus would
home?
be start and select. So
yeah.
There's probably a
There's
home.
a home, and then basically just for symmetry, there's
a share button.
Okay, all right.
There is that plus button up top.
That's probably
On
the
the right.
plus
Those are-
minus of the
yeah.
Wii start select
Yeah.
type,
Right.
type stuff.
Yeah,
right?
that's
I mean,
basically
yeah.
what those look like. Dan, would you like to rhapsodize about the 3 to 5 seconds of the Mario game?
Looks like it's got
That they
a
showed.
Dia de los Muertos theme. At
Think
least
so?
that one level. There's a little guy, like
I
a
missed. Okay,
skull face thing
Yeah.
with a sombrero and a
yeah,
guitar.
it definitely seemed to be set in like a desert.
Desert. Yeah. There were
Evil
rings.
Sons.
Maybe. No, that's not
Maybe.
confirmed. No Phantos. No evil sons. No. There was the weird like ice sculptures in the background. I don't know if that's going to be a running theme or if that was just that area. There's the triple jump,
Yeah.
and then when he's sprinting, he puts his hands out like this,
Ooh,
which makes me wonder if it's going to be like a Mario 3 build
Okay.
a meter
Like
and then you can
flies type
fly.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that looks like the game that I want for Mario.
Cool.
Yeah.
if that's real game footage, that looked nice.
And I think that's like it's weird in a way because you think about Nintendo and what they've done over the past couple of systems here. There's been innovation has been around like playing games differently. And in terms of just like here's a different controller, here's a tablet, so you've got this dual screen stuff, here's touch screen, here's like it's been that type of innovation that has led to them creating games around that innovation. And this just looks like, all right, you guys, here's a video game platform. The innovation is in the idea that you can take it with you and potentially
Yeah.
in the removable controllers. Like it's a different type of innovation that I think maybe leads to their most traditional games yet.
Yeah, there's
When
no-
you think about Zelda at E3, where here's this Wii U game with 0 touchscreen support, I mean, that, really kind of set the stage for what we're looking at now.
That sounds great because I don't want to horseshoe in stuff. Like, in Mario Galaxy, I thought it was fine with the occasional thing
Right.
where you'd,
Yeah.
treat it like a joystick or whatever.
like simple stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that stuff didn't work. I'm just saying that, like, you had a lot of cases in those games where they were kind of shoehorning some of these things in.
The egregious example of all time to me was the sword attack in Twilight Princess.
Right.
Like, making you shake to sword attack when a button would have worked so much
And
better.
there's still more to be revealed. We don't necessarily know for sure about the touch stuff. It's probably in there. Is that going to have a gyroscope in it? Yes, no. We don't know. The pointer with the infrared, like, we don't know for sure one way or the other. So there's still some stuff around that stuff. But if you look at what they're showing, it's a thing that hooks up to your TV and a controller with 2 analog sticks on it.
Yeah.
Like, it is in some ways the most traditional console they've
Yeah.
made since the GameCube.
And they've been making noise about their new online service for a while. Like,
Right.
hopefully we'll finally kind of get up to modern
Sure,
standards.
we'll see. I mean, they're not making it. Someone
Like,
else is. So
yeah, it's-
let's hope.
Sure.
Actually, I didn't GameSpy make one of their online services at some
Yeah,
point. So
that's something. Yeah. What
GameSpy.
do you guys think of the name?
I like it.
Yeah.
Simple. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense immediately for the type of system it is. It is a proper word, which is a weird thing in a lot of ways when you
kinda.
think about every device they've
yeah.
made.
I don't know. The
DS.
GameCube was pretty literal too.
Yeah, I guess
that
it
was that was
but
very-
everything after that.
Truth in
GameCube as a
advertising.
single word is
Yeah.
maybe not. But yeah, I think the name is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what they're showing. I like a lot of what they're showing, and it makes me like, if anything, I think there are negatives to pull from this. You can look at it and go like, oh, it's the most traditional system they've ever made. Where's the innovation? Like, I think that there are probably reasons for people to, if they aren't feeling it, I get it. But I look at it and go like, all right, cool. Fucking no more bullshit. Let's play some goddamn Nintendo games.
Yep.
Like, that seems like the device they're making, and I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, after years of some of the stuff they've been doing, and then having it work out great in some cases and not so great in others, I think the idea that, like, hey, here's something that is going to be a more traditional way to play some traditional ass 3D Mario.
Yes.
It's
And
gray
that
too.
sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm ready for that. That is exactly what I want from them at this juncture.
Surely they will do colors.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I hope
Some people have already sent, there are already Photoshop mock-ups
Sure.
floating around of an orange Switch and stuff.
I always
it's
wanted that
burnt orange.
I always wanted that
Okay.
orange GameCube. I never got
Purple
one.
Switch.
Was it Spice?
or
One of
bust.
them was Spice.
Spice
something, right?
Orange.
Yeah.
Spice Orange. Yeah.
That's right.
I'd take a red one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see
They
that.
kind of implied that the Mario would be 2-player because they went straight from that Mario footage to the 2 girls on the rooftop doing that.
But yeah, I mean, sure, maybe.
They're probably.
I
doing
worry about
Mario
that.
Hard to
Party.
say who cut that trailer. Are they
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about that kind of continuity? Like, we
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
I hope it's just a single player.
But even if it's 2-player, like that's probably a different mode. That's probably a different thing. It's
they've done that before.
Yeah, maybe it's just Mario Brothers. Maybe it's like those GBA games that all had Mario Brothers in them.
Yeah.
Or Galaxy.
Mario 3 had that.
Where you
Right,
point at
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I assume you would be able to sync multiple, like, the Pro controller with this thing.
One would hope.
You would hope.
You would hope,
But then,
yeah.
at that point, that leads to the question of: are you going to put your design resources into multiplayer that works with the little dinky Joy-Cons, or are you going to focus on something where somebody would bring another controller?
Well,
over?
think about it in a situation where like it comes with a full set of Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Maybe you slide those into a grip. Maybe you don't.
Oh, sure.
But maybe you
you've
just
got
take them off and hold them.
Yeah.
But you've got them,
Yeah.
and then you get a Pro controller. Like surely I believe they showed 4 people around 2 switches
Yeah.
playing NBA. So, but I guess that was with the tiny controllers.
Yeah.
But yes, presumably you would be able to sync multiple types of controllers to it and do local multiplayer.
Yeah, I mean,
in a traditional way.
Yeah, they've had to deal with like every single permutation
Right.
on the Wii U, right?
I suspect that when they're showing that stuff with the holding the controller sideways, if they're doing it like a reduced control scheme for NBA or something like that, presumably if you had 2 proper controllers synced to that thing, you'd just be able to play with the full control scheme, right? And not have to go okay, well, I got an analog stick and 4 buttons, like I can pass, and it's like arcade mode or whatever it is, all play. Is that what the EA called it?
I think so. Yeah.
Like I would suspect that you'd be able to have a couple, like whether it's a full set of Joy-Cons and 1 Pro controller, 2 Pro controllers, whatever situation you've got, that it would be able to handle that.
Yeah. I hope that dock is designed to also lay flat. I think it's.
So you want to put it in like a VHS
Yeah,
tape?
like looking at.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I mean, just looking at like your average entertainment center is designed around.
Are you saying you want to
on shelves?
You want to put it in and then push it down and then close a lid?
Okay,
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
now you're talking.
Maybe hit an eject button and have that tablet pop out.
Why not?
But it's just if the only way to do that thing is to sit it upright and go down, like you can't put it in a shelf, and like I don't have anywhere to put.
Well, that depends.
a
I
thing
mean,
that has to be accessed from the
but
top.
that's only if you have to put it in all the way from the top. What if you could slide it in most of the way and just push it down the rest of the way? You could fit it in some pretty tight spaces
Yeah,
if that's
maybe,
the case. But
maybe.
who knows how their grooves and how it all fit together?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it does. It does look like it could maybe go in from the side and then down.
Yeah.
or something.
So maybe you could fit it in a tighter space than it initially seems.
Maybe.
I've got enough top of shelf space for a thing like that because that's where my Wii U tablet is. It's on top of one of my speakers for my home theater.
Sure.
So I would just take that thing, throw it in a box, put the box in the garage with the rest of the old shit, and just put the switch right there.
Do you guys think the dock increases horsepower?
So that
No.
that's one of the biggest of these zillion questions that are swirling around.
But
this
they
thing.
have
I feel
confirmed
like
that there is no.
Have they
there
said
is-
that?
there is no processing
Okay.
power in the dock.
Okay.
There is
Okay.
no additional processing.
It's
But
just charging and putting the display up there.
But
right?
consider the idea that when it is plugged into power, there is always the potential that once you remove it from battery constraints, that they clock things up a bit.
Okay.
Yep, that is true.
We don't know one way or the other on that.
Like
but yeah,
laptops do.
Yeah, exactly. Laptops do that already. So we don't know. That could be something where when it's in the dock, maybe they need a little extra juice to spit it out at 1080p for the TV, 720p for the screen.
So that's exactly
we don't.
Again, unconfirmed, but yeah, people are sources are saying that tablet is 720.
Yeah.
So yeah, running it at a higher resolution on the TV would require more juice.
Sure. So like that's but yes, in terms of like what's in the dock, it seems like the dock is just a TV out and power.
Wonder network.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
you
would
would
there
ha-
be an Ethernet jack on that?
I mean,
thing?
even the Wii U doesn't have a network jack.
Oh, right,
So
right.
they're all in on Wi-Fi and have been for a while.
Yeah.
Do they not have the weird
Like, would there be USB
thing?
ports on that thing? You could use a USB to
Right.
on a Wii U. We do
There
it here.
are little slots. There are little ports on the side of that dock that
Yeah.
that look like they might be USB ports.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, that makes sense.
Hard to say.
You would want to charge your Pro controllers somehow, and that would presumably be how you would do it.
Yes. Other little tidbits trickling out. Nothing huge, but people are saying that Pro controller will not have a headphone jack on it.
Okay.
It just came out recently. Beyond Good and Evil is being said to be a Switch exclusive now.
It seems like that would be the Bayonetta 2 of its platform.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
game that wouldn't have happened any other way.
Yeah.
And Nintendo said, like, we're going to spend our money here to get this game that people want. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, like you said, Ubisoft always big
Ubisoft,
on.
yeah, they're
getting
big
in
at
early.
launch. Yeah. Red Steel 3.
Yeah.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's about it for Switch kind of rumor roundup. You know, all kinds of stuff flying left and right. But
I was glad to finally see it. Like after
Yeah.
a long time of kind of hearing a lot of this stuff about this hybrid concept and,
Yeah.
and having this rough idea in my head of what it would look like and
Yeah.
all this other stuff. Like I think it looks better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the dock looks more elegant than I thought it would. Yeah, I think it's neat.
It looks way sleeker than something like the Wii U controller.
Right.
Like
Oh, yeah.
It's got a little bit more of an elegance to it, I think, than stuff we've seen from them.
Yeah,
in the
and
past.
I think people have a lot of criticisms out there, and I think some of them are valid and some of them are not. I think you see some people going like, "Well, how are kids supposed to put this in their pocket?" It's like, kids,
Yeah, I mean, it's
that's not.
What?
Yeah,
You put 3DSs in your
Yeah,
pocket?
the
no,
3DS is
like
big.
the
Too big
3DS
for that.
XL is not a
Yeah,
fucking small system.
You put that in a bag.
Yeah, you put that shit in a bag.
But
Yeah.
but I mean, but this is very much a like buy a carrying case and put it in a bag kind of thing. Like it's it's get it out on an airplane.
Phones are getting bigger. Tablets are like kids play games on fucking tablets now.
I don't think I would ever whip this thing out on the bus.
Yeah,
It looks too big and gaudy and just like
I
bulky
would,
for
certainly.
really.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
it doesn't. I
Like they straight
I saw
up show
some
the
size
little kickstand
comparisons
on it
that
and
didn't
stuff.
necessarily make it look like that much bigger than a 3DS XL.
Yeah, like on the bus, like if I'm commuting from Jersey, I will absolutely take that out for an hour a day and play that thing. That
It looks
sounds
like the
perfect
size
for
of
that.
a Wii U tablet.
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, I think
but
they're
also, I
saying-
think that's something like you could bring that out and throw it in your bag. Like it's not.
Probably a 7-inch screen. I mean, 7 inches huge in tablets, so you would assume 7-inch tablet plus crap on the sides. Like, I mean, that's not gigantic.
No,
but
it's not.
But it's not like pull it out at a bus stop and like hold it while you're standing necessarily.
Maybe not a bus stop, but like sitting down
yeah, like,
on a bus.
But it is somewhat limited in its portability. Let's say.
I do like the kickstands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The kickstand on the airplane.
I think,
tray
I think
table.
that's a really silly concept
Seems
because
kinda silly.
Like, why would you set it down
Yeah.
unless it's like super heavy? Like that's like I look at it and go like, of course you would hold this in your hand the same way I played hours of Mario Maker with the TV turned off, just like this. Like I look at it as like in a portable format. Why would you ever take the controllers off and use the kickstand? That's crazy.
You got the Joy-Con
Unless
grip.
that thing is like a fucking $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Which I can't imagine it would be.
There appear to be vents on the top of it, or there are openings up there that
Yeah.
people are speculating are like fan exhaust.
Yeah, I wonder if
which,
it's
like
got
the idea of a tablet with fans in it
cooling.
is insane.
It happens, right?
I guess. I mean, but you're so used to this like super minimal condensed like iPad world of everything is like integrated and tiny.
Yeah.
We will see. A lot of questions to answer about this thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
But in terms of just like I think the basics, I think that like the building blocks of what they've shown already, I think is super appealing for
Solid.
the types of games they make.
Solid concept, and thank God we now know exactly what it is and can move on
Right.
past the like will they won't they phase of this whole thing. But if
Right.
they're not,
And they reiterated March also at the end of that thing.
Yeah, so if they're not
that's-
going to say anything else this year and it's still coming out in March, that's a pretty short window there to start filling stuff in.
they don't need
I
to
guess.
fill in that much
I
to
guess,
sell
but-
launch quantities, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll set up what they need to set up with retailers. They'll get their price and stuff out
Yeah.
there. They'll start
Yeah.
taking pre-orders. They'll sell it.
Demo units will show
It's-
up in February or whatever.
Yeah, like they start the marketing of that thing on day one, like the widespread public marketing, because they have enough early adopters lined up already to sell their launch quantities. I'm sure.
I wonder how this plays to the mainstream. Like you've got your like launch day, like Good Morning America segment or whatever, where they're like, it's like playing it on a tablet and then you just right to your TV.
I wonder,
I wonder how people look at that and
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, if people will think that any of that part of this is cool.
right. The way that the stuff with the Wii caught.
Are they going to bring it to the rooftop parties? That's the real question.
Yeah, that's-
And the answer is yes. We've already established that.
Clearly,
yes,
it's the use,
absolutely.
the use case is right there.
It was sort of dusk at that rooftop party.
It's true.
Yeah. Wonder how it looks
It's backlit.
in broad daylight.
In a warm light.
Mm.
Yeah, there you go. Get an afterburner put in mine.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Third party support looks real good too.
Yeah, I've got the infographic. I mean, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. I've got the infographic that they put out here in front of me with like probably 50 or 60 companies on it. But
It's a wider list than they had at the Wii U launch.
I mean, Hamster is on that list. So
Yeah. So plenty of Sudoku coming at you.
I guess notably like stuff like Unity and I don't know if
They did say UE4.
I'm
would
trying
run
to.
on
Yeah,
this
I'm
thing, right?
looking for. I don't remember if it was an Epic logo or actually an Unreal logo. But yeah, like getting stuff like that on there is probably a good step toward making sure that like indies and smaller games come over to this thing.
Or I'm bigger game. Plenty of games run on those engines, right?
Sure,
You
sure.
know,
But like pretty much every major publisher you can think of is on this list.
Right.
But again, we'll see.
you
What,
start to wonder, like, with its nature of being portable and stuff like that, and a lot of kind of modern AAA third-party games, or not all of them, but we're starting to see more and more games that are always online.
Yeah.
So, do those sorts of games ever come to this device?
Yeah.
Or do they just go, all right, well, look, like we have to account for this notion of you taking it with you and not being on the internet, so
Unless
we're
there's
not
a cell
putting.
chip
Yeah, they wouldn't dream of
They're-
putting
they-
cell
but-
support in this thing, would they?
But also, you would never play the Division over LTE.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, like that's just not a viable way to play that game.
Sure.
So like games like that, you know, if Diablo comes along and, you know, they go always online on consoles next time out, you know, Destiny, obviously, you know, like these sorts of games, there's only going to be more of them as time goes on. So, you know, I feel like a lot of those games are kind of automatically excluded from appearing here. Because I wonder what Nintendo would even have to say about that in terms of their third-party restrictions. If they could even say like, "Oh, you need to have a mode in here that people can do when they're not playing, you know, they're not connected to the internet," or you know, like.
But it's not like we were getting those games on the Wii U anyway, you know. So it would just kind of be
totally,
status
yeah,
quo.
no, I'm more looking at it in terms of like, you know, if people are looking at this thing and looking at this list and going like, the big guns. Or it's like, I mean,
I only need one console.
But
yeah, that's the thing. Like the odds of this thing being your all-in-one console
it's not,
replacement,
you know,
like, I don't. It's still going to be supplemental to one of the other two, right?
And I think that's fine.
Or a PC,
like
or
that's not what we're looking for out of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Haven't looked at that way for 15 years.
Yes.
So
Indeed.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. It looks
They
promising.
should do that.
It looks promising.
They should make that thing. I'd buy one of those.
That's good. I think they're gonna.
All right, cool.
I think they're gonna make it.
I'll buy one of those.
I think they've gotten the response they were looking for.
I would like to own one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to play the games, some of the games they showed on that thing.
Yes.
I think
Basically
it's-
everything except for Mario Kart.
I think it's the
NBA?
most
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I'm ready for portable basketball.
portable T poses.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
No, it was NBA 2K. It was not.
right.
It was not live.
Okay. So it'll probably work fine.
Yeah. Who could say?
I think it's the most excited I've been about a conceptual or the concept of a Nintendo platform in a long time. You know,
Sure.
like the Wii stuff, it was like motion controls, whatever. Like the Wii U gamepad was potentially interesting and then was underutilized.
Yeah.
But like from the ground up, this
Remember
thing
they were
seems-
doing weird shit like setting the Wii U tablet on the fucking ground,
Yeah.
Showing the
swinging
golf
golf
ball.
clubs over it and shit
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
they should do that.
Yeah.
They still could.
But do it with this. You unclip the controller, you set
Okay.
the thing down, and then you're like,
You could.
boom, fucking.
They could still do it. It could still happen.
If you dock it, you have to set your TV on the ground, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Mine's on the ground anyway.
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch coming next March. Let's take a quick break. Let's cool off. Got a little hot and sweaty in here with all that new console talk. We'll be right back.
Your time has come.
My time for what?
Your time to stop choosing between price and quality to get an amazing and affordable shave.
Shaving.
That's right.
I like to shave.
You love to shave, and DollarShaveClub.com is the answer.
I like to be clean.
That's
Sharp.
clean and sharp. These are things you can get, and to prove just how quality and amazing that shave really is, you can get your first month free when you join the club.
Sharp, high quality, free razors?
Yes, sharp, high quality, and 1 month for free. DollarShaveClub.com delivers those razors right to your door for like a third of the price.
Male razors.
Yeah, of what those razor corporations charge.
So you don't want big razor horning in on your territory.
Exactly. Big Razor wants to charge you way too much for a razor that's going to go dull fast.
Yeah. That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. That is when they came up with the phrase, that's how they get you, they were talking about buying razors from a store.
Yep.
DollarShaveClub.com eliminates that. Get the razors sent right to your home and pick the razor that works for you from their amazing blades. That's all there is to it. You can get the executive blade. You can use Dr. Carver's shave butter.
I want to put some butter on my face.
Put the butter on your face. It'll gently glide for the smoothest shave ever.
Ooh.
With Dollar Shave Club, you can look, smell, and shave like $1 million without paying for it.
That's catchy.
That's right. It's a Dollar Shave Club, but you get $1 million in return.
That's a pretty high value
Yeah,
shave.
I think that's what that said there. So that sounds like a deal to me. No, okay, hang on. I'm rereading. You are not going to get $1 million.
Okay. I was going to say, this razor economy is really through the roof.
Yeah, no, it is. It's blowing up. Here's your chance to see why over 3 million members love Dollar Shave Club. They're so confident in the quality of all their products that you can get your first month of the club for free. Just pay shipping. After that, it's just a few bucks a month. No long-term commitment, no hidden fees. There's no reason not to do it, it says here.
Yeah. None whatsoever.
0 reasons.
How could you say no to free blades?
Exactly. Get yours at dollarshaveclub.com/bombcast. Get yours. That's dollarshaveclub.com/bombcast.
All right, let's keep trucking through news because there's still some stuff to cover.
Sure.
Okay.
News trucks.
Yeah.
Arriving.
Let's hop on. Let's skitch on the back of this news truck
Mm-hmm.
right through town.
Like Skitchers get stitchers.
Yep. That's correct. That is absolutely correct. That's what they say on the street.
This is a podcast.
Yeah.
Was it like an hour after the Switch reveal, the Red Dead 2 trailer came out?
Yeah, it's that same morning for sure.
Oh, right.
That was a hectic morning of big stuff happening. That trailer came out.
That looks real good.
Did you guys watch that trailer?
Yeah.
You didn't watch that trailer?
No.
Dude. Drew, did you watch that
I
trailer?
did.
I only had the capacity to
It's very
watch one
pretty.
trailer that morning. Okay. I chose the one that mattered.
That's fair. Dude.
Doesn't show a lot, but
No,
oh my God,
it's like
it
a
looks
minute
gorgeous.
of footage, but holy crap, that looks incredible. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
It was all like tone and stuff, right?
I mean, it's mostly shots of landscapes.
I did see some version of the trailer that had been set to Pony by
Okay.
Genuines.
I mean, there's okay. I didn't think there was a way to improve it, but I could see that.
And it looked like some dudes in a canoe.
Maybe
There was a canoe. There were 7 dudes on horseback
Yeah.
riding across the plain.
So,
I wonder if they were implying
dogs.
anything there.
So there's
Nah, those trailers never imply anything. It's just here's some cowboys.
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
the gang
right. Trees.
was the gang from the first one or not the first the previous one 7 people? Do you remember?
Oh, the posse
Like
system?
I haven't seen like I figured by now people would have fully dissected like the silhouettes of the characters they put out and then what's
I'm
in
sure
the trailer
some people have some message
and
boards. but
definitively said here's what this game is about. Yes, it's a prequel. No, it's not. But I
some
haven't
people saying it was Dutch, maybe?
I haven't seen those answers really.
Like the movie Dutch, like a cowboy recreation of the film Dutch.
Yes.
All
Having
right.
not seen Dutch
I
or
am
knowing what
on
it is.
board.
Yes.
Ed O'Neill
Fletch.
is Dutch of the West.
It's hard to say what this thing's about. I've seen some suggestions, people like looking at mountain ranges and foliage and all kinds of shit and saying like, okay, no, it's not the Southwest.
Or is
It looks more kind of like Kansas, Midwest type
okay
area.
That was early rumors, right? Was that it was the Midwest?
Well, the rumors have been all over the place. Like,
Okay.
like some people said, here's the map from the game, and it's the same map from the first one.
It's
so it's more,
Australia.
it's more of
If
that shit.
If it's mountain ranges, it's not Kansas.
Yeah, I don't know.
for sure.
The year 2472. The place, New Australia.
Cyber Cowboys?
Could be like Colorado, Kansas. Like the
Maybe.
plains
I
of
don't know if
Kansas
it's mountain ranges. I just threw that out there, but
It's just flat in Kansas.
The whole
so.
third act takes place in Cydonia. Think about it. Let's do this.
okay. Yeah, there's like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue in that trailer, which could be read as the setup for the previous game. Kind
Yeah.
of. Or maybe it's a giant bait and switch.
I could totally see it being a prequel.
This footage looks incredibly good.
Yes.
Their ability to craft atmosphere.
Good video
and-
game graphics.
Yeah.
I want the real trailer, the like 2.5 minute one that comes in a few months and shows actual like story beats and characters and stuff.
Right.
Like,
This
that's
is-
typically how they do this.
This seems like here's the tone of this thing, just like any GTA game.
The
Here's
GTA 4
the quick
were-
trailer that is just like, here's what we're going for. Actually, some of those they never put out as trailers. I remember being sat down in front of a TV for San Andreas, go like, here's what we're going for. And then they just showed clips of Boys in the Hood and Juice and all those.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, all right, yeah, okay.
You're on board.
You should make that game. And then they said, we did. And I'm like, good, great, good, great.
They did that with GTA 4. I remember they did the reveal of Liberty City with like the MetLife building, and then they showed Nico briefly, but it didn't really show a whole lot in like a minute. So pretty much same thing here.
Yeah. 5 was crazy, though. We went to that hotel room appointment and watched them play it for like the better
Yeah, I
part of
guess
an hour.
5 was weird. Yeah.
Like, we saw a ton
weird
of
for
that
Rockstar,
game.
considering how they normally
Yeah.
handle their stuff.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, we thought this was going to be a 5-minute thing. And it's like, nope.
Is that back when they were pushing the like zoom out
Yes,
and
they
going
were,
to the
it was
yeah.
very
they
much
showed a
like,
lot of
let's
that.
show all 3 characters. We're going to spend like 15 minutes with each one and show you how you switch back and forth.
Yep.
That was a pretty deep dive there. But I saw a lot of comparisons going around on Twitter to people putting frames of this side by side with a bunch of Albert Bierstadt paintings, who I was not familiar with until this all came up. But like, it's super striking how much they're going for that look.
Huh.
I guess he was well known for painting Old West scenes or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
People like picking out shots from like There Will Be Blood that are pretty much represented this and stuff. Like I love that they wear those influences on their sleeve. They don't shy away from that stuff. Like
Yeah.
it gives their stuff a certain feel that a lot of other games don't have as prominently. I guess I don't know. Not much else to say about that. No
Next
way
year,
to know.
next fall or holiday.
They're still saying they're saying next year.
Yeah.
Next holiday, next fall. But I mean,
Did not announce a PC version.
yes,
No.
still no on that. Also, I would bet even money that it doesn't come out next year.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Go to, like, April or
It's
something.
been so long since they've shipped a game that
Yeah.
you would like to think that they have gotten that shit under control.
I guess, but I mean,
And that they would be at least a little more confident in their dates.
Where's the bins?
I was gonna say they don't have the bins
Yeah,
anymore.
I mean, that's true.
So
They have the Benz's blueprint for online Grand Theft Auto to set in the West, though, so don't worry.
Yeah.
They'll find a way to make a whole lot of money post-release on it.
or at launch,
Right.
is it possible that they? I mean, no, they're not going to go back and rewrite their own playbook, right? Based on that stuff.
I bet that it has a red and on like here's the safest guess of the fucking
No, I'm
year.
saying they go beyond the safe guess and like build the whole game around that.
Oh,
I think there will be elements
like
of
they
it.
like they do away
Right,
with
right,
that
right.
traditional split of like here's your 50-hour single player stuff, here's this other online mode. Like,
I mean, they had that stock market stuff that tapped into what other people were doing online before.
yeah,
Is that GTA 5? Huh.
Like they could.
yeah. But just keep in mind that the GTA Online explosion only happened post release of GTA 5.
Right.
Like that didn't have time to inform the way that game was designed,
Right.
the way that it will have informed this one.
Or potentially could have.
Yeah.
You know.
Or not.
Yeah.
Or not. Like I like what they do with single player stuff, so I hope they're still doing that.
I'm sad they never did single player DLC for 5. I really liked
Yeah, there were
Gay Tony
rumors.
and Lost and Damned.
There were rumors for sure for a long time that something like that was happening,
Yeah.
and it just never.
I like the smaller stories they tell there.
They
And the big
probably
ones.
just saw how much money was coming in on the online stuff.
Yeah.
And so like, let's just pull all these people off this thing and put them on this thing. You know?
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
That would be the sensible, business-minded thing to do, honestly. You know?
Yeah, but man, that would have been cool.
I didn't like the Lost and Damned at all.
Really?
To the point where I didn't care about the Gay Tony stuff very much either. So like the idea of single player DLC, like that game is so long already. Like these like vignette story, like I just don't
But
care.
I like the new
at that
characters and the settings and everything.
The way
like,
it was split up in 5, I feel like they maybe could have integrated it a little bit more.
Yeah.
more seamlessly.
point. What if they just added a fourth character and it was
right.
like it was the full game again, but it was like here's what this guy was doing
To see
taking
Steve's
pictures
stuff,
of
you have to-
celebrities the whole time.
Just play with Michael's shitty kid for the
Right.
entire game.
Oh no.
That'd be some true gangsta shit.
You play as Michael's kid playing that Call of Duty knockoff.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
That's,
right.
that's the single player DLC.
Yes. Red Dead Redemption 2. Man, Friday was a crazy day on the internet.
Happened Friday.
PSN, along with half of the other
right.
sites on the
Right.
internet,
Yeah.
were
Right.
down for hours and hours.
It was nice. It was relaxing a little bit, you know. Like Twitter was down. I was
Yeah.
like,
the
this
candles.
is cool.
Play
Yeah.
some board games.
Yeah.
I was totally opening my Twitter app through muscle memory for the first couple hours, and then like increasingly as I was doing that, I was going, I don't feel like I'm actually missing all that much.
I felt focused and at peace in a lot of ways. That
Yeah.
brought up some very serious questions about how I spend my time.
Yep.
You ever do like a full weekend where you just commit to like no Twitter
I
whatsoever?
don't really look at
That's
any
kind
that
of
shit.
No?
That's
Okay.
kind
kind
of
of every
now,
weekend
so,
increasingly for me.
It
Yeah.
feels so much better.
I've been doing that a lot. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's-
Did a whole week though.
maybe should pilot that idea and let us
Pretty
know
good
how it
idea.
goes. I might follow you on that one. But yeah, it was crazy. Like coming in here on Friday morning, like having to get ready for UPF, like firing up the PS4, that PS4 not being my home PS4 and being unable to launch any game on it,
Right. Yeah.
or download any patches, or
Mhm.
just like it went down hard.
Yeah.
And like in this particular case, no real fault of Sony.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like
you know,
Xbox Live happened to be better, but I think that was just more
maybe they just weren't using the same services, and
it was just some circumstance more than
Yeah,
anything, you know?
right.
But man, like,
Yep.
how fragile is the internet actually that we're getting to the point where
right. I mean, you know,
DDoSs can be this widespread and
Yeah.
this impactful?
Yeah. So what the actual story is like DDoS hitting like a major DNS
Yeah.
like company.
Like stop going
Server.
after specific targets and just start taking out backbones.
Right.
The-
Din or Dine?
Dine, I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how you pronounce
DNS,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's the sort of stuff that in some weird way has to happen before people start hardening those parts of the internet, right? As long as everything just works, no one's going to fucking change shit.
Mhm.
You know, no one really moved to IPv6. That's been around forever. And
Right.
It's not really, doesn't seem like it's catching on that much. We need Internet 2. Nope. 3. We need 3.
Okay.
We need
all right.
Internet 3.
Okay, here we go. Okay, we publicly create Internet 2.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, we got a new internet. Everybody go over here. And then secretly we'll make
Secret
Internet 3.
Internet 3. It's just a handful of Gopher servers that
Yeah.
can get whatever information you want.
Internet
It's a sort
3.
of dark internet.
Internet
The
3 is going
darkest.
to be the internet for cool people. It's only invite.
Twitter on Internet 3 is so much better, you guys.
Private internet free. We'll see if this pops up again anytime soon. I hope not. It was pretty disruptive, all things considered.
Yeah, I don't know. It will almost certainly pop up again and again and again until it either gets fixed or until the internet is done.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Like that's
All right.
that's the thing is
All right.
until they figure out a way to stop it permanently.
One way or another.
One way or the other.
We will get through this
Yeah.
as a society. Jeff, tell me why BS Zelda is back in the news and now everybody's calling it Zelda Ancient Stone Tablets.
I don't know why it's back in the
Yeah,
news.
like,
This stuff's been around.
Story's been
for a
floating
bit, but
around.
I think someone finally just wrote about it,
Okay.
or maybe they finally finished or something like that.
Okay.
But this is the
So, I mean-
Satellaview Zelda game.
There's a fan translation out for it.
They've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah.
And because that game had audio that came off the bird, it came off the satellite.
Like in real time?
In real time.
Like,
so you had to play that game at specific times of day.
Like only if they were broadcasting the audio could you hear the audio?
Only if they were broadcasting
Or
audio
play
could
the
you
game at all? Okay.
And so, just this incredible weird series of peripherals that hooked up to your Super Famicom that you would then download the game off the bird and then have to play the game at specific times. All this other stuff made it incredibly hard to emulate and duplicate this experience. But, from piecing together dumped copies of the games from the carts that the Satellaview used, and like this kind of painstaking recreation of the audio that played along with it, and a bunch of weird emulation tricks and all this other stuff. They've actually put it back together and then translated it into English too.
Because the ROM's have been out there forever.
Yeah, that's been kicking around forever.
But was
for
it just the
for
game
the longest time
without-
it didn't work at all, and then they kind of hacked the ROMs a little bit to load up and kind of let you play them, but you were missing out
still
on
missing
what
the audio
that thing
stuff?
was
Okay.
if you didn't have that full package.
Have you heard the audio? Is it just like symphonic versions of Zelda music, or what's going on
It's
there?
a lot of speech.
Oh.
It's a ton of speech. It's like storytelling. It's all this other. It's not necessarily speech that's always directly tied to your actions. It's like a story being told as you play
Like
the
a
game.
narration?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
So
not
Link's
narration
not
of your
talking.
actions. It's it's
Okay.
there's a whole voice cast to this thing.
Link
that
picked
is-
up his sword.
Yeah, not that directly because it can't be tied to your actions because it's an audio playback that's happening from the satellite while you're playing. So it's like you're listening to like a radio play as you play this thing that is related to it.
And the plot is the same, because it's just the first
It's all
Zelda
tied
game,
together.
right?
No, it's kind of its own thing.
BS Zelda is a totally different thing.
There are two Zelda games. There's one where you're just kind of playing The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, with better graphics
as
and-
your Satellaview character dude,
Right.
not Link. And then there's this other thing.
Huh.
So
So is this a new Zelda game, basically?
in a manner of speaking.
It uses, from the looks of it, a lot of
uses-
Link
yeah.
to the Past graphics.
Okay.
Yeah,
Assets or whatever.
There's assets in there from that stuff. For
Is
sure.
that other Zelda you're talking about? Is it just a remake of the first game?
Kind of,
So
yeah,
is
but
it-
it's broken up into chunks because of okay, during this hour you can play these dungeons, and there was some stuff they did along those lines too. I think.
Okay.
I think
I had that ROM like 15 years ago, and I thought that's what you were talking about.
Yeah,
just
this-
like
this is
basically
like
Zelda 1 with
It's
SNES
basically the
caliber
Mario All Stars treatment for the first Zelda, kind of.
yeah.
So it looks like a dubbed translation of that dialogue. is out.
Dubbed?
Is
Yes,
They didn't
like
subtitle it.
They have
They
re-recorded.
actually
Yeah,
recorded.
because how do you subtitle a ROM that's an
Yeah.
audio file playing
Yeah,
back?
that's
that,
like-
so
Yeah.
they
It's
actually
easier
went out
to
of their
just-
way to produce this thing,
Yeah.
and
So there are like language packs out there for other. Let's see, is
Wow.
it English, French, and German. It looks like. for-
That's pretty
full
impressive.
e-figs.
Wow.
Let's go.
Yeah. No Italian yet.
Yeah, I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Being able to
wanna play
preserve
that.
this in some kind of format.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, I'm curious to hear those performances. Like, I'm curious how.
right? Are they
like,
any
what's the
good?
quality of the
Are they
VO
any
and
good?
stuff?
That's
So- Is it released as like an
fan dubs.
executable, like an AM2R, or is it just a ROM?
yeah. This is all kind of cobbled together Super Nintendo stuff.
And you would play on like SNES 9X or something like that?
Not that, because that wouldn't support any of the audio playback, but there
So
are
it'd be a
emulators that do. Yeah,
Okay.
they've kind of got that end of it figured out. There's some people doing some weird extensions around Super Nintendo stuff where, like, hey, here's this. Well, for starters, there are people that have made SNES CD-ROM games that work with that, like an emulated version of that thing.
Of the PlayStation thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Really?
And
I didn't realize they ever had like enough of the specs or whatever to do that.
it's a SNES with I think they dumped the BIOS for it and
Okay.
kind of went off to the races. I'm not actually sure about that stuff, but a game exists. Someone made a game for the SNES CD-ROM.
That's insane.
So there's that, but then also people have kind of figured out like, okay, let's have audio packs that are add-ons for these games. And I think it's some of the same tech that is used in this. I'm not positive, but it's like they're like, okay, well, we've come up with a full CD quality soundtrack to go with this game, and I think you might be able to use it on a flash card. I'm not positive about that, but there's like some weird. It's like here's this 500 meg thing that the ROM can then access and trigger. I never got it working. I didn't spend much time looking at it. It just looked like this really crazy thing. But yeah, I mean, you know, like given enough years and enough dedication, like people have managed to put together some pretty amazing stuff around classic platforms. It's pretty wild. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
It's stuff that like, you know, like people always go like, oh, Nintendo should do that. Yeah, they should, but they should do a ton of things, and there are plenty of other things that would be like better business decisions.
It's pretty low
than
on the list.
preserving this Satellaview Zelda game. You know, like that's the hard truth about a lot of this stuff. So a lot of it does fall to fans, and it's awesome that projects like this come together and do this work.
Thankfully,
it's great.
Those people are willing to do that stuff.
Yeah.
The only other thing I've got, I'm kind of sad that Star Trek Bridge Crew has been delayed till next year.
I know.
Yeah.
Normally, delay is not a huge bit of news, but that game sounds so cool.
VR is dead.
Just
killed it.
That was supposed to be out in about a month, I believe. It's now been pushed to next March.
I do believe the Trackmania Turbo VR patch is coming in like a week or
Okay.
so.
All right.
There's
Something to hold us off.
yeah.
Okay.
There's still hope for virtual reality then, but no Star Trek this year.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, that's it for news stories. Let's talk about video games. Jeff,
Yeah.
what do you got?
Titanfall 2
Oh,
is
yeah.
a video game.
What? Oh, okay. What is it? What is that?
It's a first-person shooter.
Okay.
You can play. Okay, look,
Yes.
you can play as a robot
Hmm.
that can call down gigantic mech robot suits from the sky,
Oh.
Okay.
and then you as the robot can get into the other robots
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
and blow up other robots.
Robots
You can play as a
driving
robot?
robots?
Yeah,
This must be a multiplayer thing.
yeah.
Okay.
Like the model changes based on what which ability you take.
So it's like
So
a
the-
Russian nesting doll.
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much.
Okay.
So like the grappling hook looks like a human, but some of those things have
You
like
throw humans as a grappling hook?
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
A lot of humans get thrown in Titanfall 2,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game's really fucking good.
Really? All right.
I really like it. Yeah, the multiplayer it just feels so good. Like every little thing they've done about player movement and just the shooting, just the quality of the weaponry and just the satisfaction that comes from hitting your target and stuff like that. Yeah, they've got just little sound effects and just little stuff like that all along the way that just make it. It's a really satisfying loop.
Like in a way that the first game felt good, or
In a
is-
lot
have
of
they-
in a lot
have
in a
they-
lot of the ways that the first
Yeah.
game felt good.
or
Absolutely.
have they?
The mobility still
Yeah,
feels
the
great.
mobility feels great, and just getting good at that stuff feels rewarding on its own.
Well, so I loved. I only played the campaign so
Yeah.
far. I haven't been able to play multiplayer, but they have these hidden things, these like pilot helmets.
Yeah.
And instead of like the skulls in Halo, where it's like, oh, we tucked this away someplace, it's mostly like, hey, you can see these things, and you got to figure out how to jump up there and dodge
there are
and all that.
there are like weird like the campaign is really weird in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
Like it's I like it. It's just not what you would expect in terms of like, oh, this is going to be like a pure Call of Duty campaign. Like, no, there's kind of a
What
lot of
is it?
platforming in
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
It's a story.
All right.
There's a story. It is a man and his robot.
Okay, did they
they-
fulfill the thing I wanted to be fulfilled after the E3 trailer of making the Titan like an active character in
Yes,
the story?
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The personality?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's as big. He's got more personality than the dude you play as.
Yeah, that's true. He probably has more lines of dialogue also.
Yeah, yeah.
But you actually at some points get to choose dialogue in that game.
Oh,
Like you
really?
push up for one thing, down for others.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's something.
it's not like making choices necessarily.
Right.
It's not like go left or right. It's hey, say these two things if you want to.
Exactly.
And hear
Yeah.
what the robot says back to you.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think that stuff's effective for what it is. But yeah, it's kind of so. Hearing them describe how they made it actually contextualizes a lot of it for me in a way that makes a lot of sense. Because I'd say that actually I think that the campaign feels kind of disjointed in spots.
okay.
Because it does kind of go from like here's this kind of standard kind of combat sequence to like this is just a platforming puzzle. And there's nothing else like it in the entire game.
In a good way?
It's just this one-off thing of, I think
first-person platforming puzzles.
But like, keep in mind, like it's
checkered
about
history.
like this is about like wall running
Yeah,
and landing
yeah.
on these platforms. And in cases where they've got like where they're setting up for like, hey, here's kind of the first time you're going to be doing this sort of sequence. Those sequences actually load back immediately if you fail.
Okay.
There are typically longer load times when you die, but those, for whatever reason, they're, for smart reasons, actually, they're kind of putting in. It's like, if you fuck up this jump, you're going to get to try again immediately. We know that that's frustrating if you have to do it again, which is smart. But it sounds like they assembled it out of blocks. Like they just straight up prototyped like all these different sequences. But let's do this. This would be fun, right? This would be fun, right? And then took like 8 or 10 of 12 of those or whatever and strung them together and draped a story over them. And there you go.
I mean, do you think those ideas came from like a tutorialization for the multiplayer?
No, to hear them talk about it, it sounds like they actually started down the road of making a traditional campaign and then realized it was not fun at all. So they set about figuring out what was fun about the game they were making and then came up with all these things.
So it's like the greatest hits.
Iterated on them, and the greatest hits of this whole prototype process are what
campaign.
got put into the
So
campaign.
does it just basically feel like every mission is different?
Kind of,
Yeah,
which
sounds,
is cool.
That sounds
Which is-
ideal.
It
Like,
ends
that
up
sounds
actually
way
being
better
neat.
than a Call of Duty campaign.
I would say it is better than the average Call of Duty campaign for sure.
Or just more varied. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there are parts that are platforming challenges, almost like a Guacamelee or an Outland, where in Guacamelee how you'd be doing wall jumping things, but like switching between phases.
Oh, weird.
And like this thing isn't here until you press this button, and you have to do it in between.
Yeah,
that's in Titanfall.
Sounds kind of awesome.
There's interesting mechanics in that game that they have asked us not to talk about until the game is out. But there's some fucking weird shit in that game.
When is it? Friday?
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of games come
Wow.
out on Friday these days.
Yeah. And then the multiplayer, I think that, some of the changes will be a little controversial for people. I think some people had problems in the tech test that, I don't know that this is necessarily going to satisfy them, but they've changed the like crux of how Titans work in that game. In the previous game, it was more like a Halo thing. You had a recharging shield and you had a hull that, the hull would not regenerate. The shield would, generally speaking. Here, you don't start with a shield, so any damage you take out of the gate is fucking damage. And they put batteries out there. So the idea is that there's some teamwork involved, because if some human player, someone on foot, picks up that battery, or you get out of your own Titan to get it yourself, which is how I did it most of the time, a coordinated team, theoretically, would be running out, getting a battery, and running over to the Titan and putting the battery in the Titan, which gives it an overshield and helps charge its core ability, I think. And it ends up being really cool. I actually, it makes the Titan combat feel just like it matters a bit more. It feels like the damage you're doing tends to matter a lot more.
Well, and it adds a teamwork aspect to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool.
That seems like a smart addition, especially in Last Titan Standing mode, where everyone is starting in a Titan. It's like, oh, my Titan blew up, so I'm going to fucking help the rest of my team by making sure they've got shields, and also actually human on Titan combat was pretty effective in the first game. It is still super effective here if you've got the right loadout.
So you're saying this battery system where you take damage instantly, that's just for the Titans? Like if you're on foot as a human, do you have that kind of recharging health?
You're still
Okay.
you're still recharging health on it as a
Okay.
human. It's for the Titans, yeah.
Do you pick up any batteries or anything like that? Because you can pick up batteries on the ground in the campaign, can't you? Or that's all like Titan
Yeah,
juice?
so it is, the batteries are different in single player.
Okay.
Because you do have that shield in single player. It does recharge. It
Right,
works like
right.
the previous game. It's actually kind of confusing in a weird way because of how different that stuff is. Where in the campaign, when you're in the Titan, you just walk over the batteries and you automatically pick them
Right.
up. But in multiplayer, you get out,
Okay.
get it, an icon appears on your HUD saying you are carrying a fucking battery. You bring it back. And if you're getting your own Titan, you just get the battery. If you jump on someone else's Titan, there's an animation of you jamming the battery in there.
And it's like a hold X to install battery type thing?
As soon as you rodeo onto it, it
Okay.
just does it.
Do they?
So also, you do that to enemy Titans in the opposite way. You
Nice.
jump on them and pull a battery out.
Okay.
And
they
then
lose
you've got a
their shield?
battery. They take whole hits. They take damage.
And you can steal it from an enemy Titan and
Yeah.
put it in yours?
Yes.
Do they flag human players who are battery carriers for the other team?
So
Like, do you
when
see an icon
yes,
like this person has a battery?
When
should
you
kill them.
are when you are holding a battery, yeah, you'll see. So if someone steals your battery, they have a battery icon over them as they're jumping away from you. You're like, fucker. You get them, drop the battery, you go get it back.
Okay.
Also, if you are on foot and you have a battery, you can call out almost like hey medic kind of thing.
Oh.
You can call out, hey, I've got a battery.
Is it like
and
a capture
Titans nearby will see it and go, oh shit.
Is it like a capture the flag thing where you're basically using one hand for the battery and you can only use sidearms?
You're good.
Okay.
You have full control with a battery.
Cool.
And then there's like a boost ability which replaces a lot of the burn card stuff. That is get a free battery. If you want that option. They've expanded the options in terms of loadout stuff in some really good ways.
How's the on foot versus Titan balance? I feel like
I mean,
a lot of people had a lot of opinions coming out of the beta.
Like, I think the Titan situation is even more precarious than it was before because, like, coordinated teams on a Titan can fuck that shit up immediately because there's no shield to eliminate first. So if you could pop in a Titan and someone's got a core ready where they're, like, doing laser core or burst core or salvo core or whatever, just launching all this shit at you.
A lot of cores.
And you're just fucked. So you have to be smart about it. In a way that, like, the first game would let you kind of back off and kind of recover and then get back out there. This is a little more like, all right, I'm just going to get out here and fucking do my business. And if I need to run off for a battery, I can do that. There's still a reason to get out of combat, but, like, let's get out there and fucking fight. And I think it's a positive.
I feel like the way the Titans boost around, isn't that like exactly what you've been asking for as far as the advanced warfare style, like in a direction?
The Titan boost always was that, and different Titans in multiplayer will have different numbers of boosts, and you can load out to get an additional boost if you like.
And some can kind of fly and hover. And some
there's
phase
a hover core that just will. Well, there's a ability that just hovers, but then there's hover core which launches and then launches a fuck ton of missiles.
I like
down.
that one.
That one's pretty good. I mean, they've got some cool things in their multiplayer loadouts. Instead of grenades, you can take fucking burning fucking ninja stars that you throw
Those
them
are
and
great.
they
They
just
turn into like a big thermite.
they turn into big old burning fire, and it'll
great.
blind a Titan if you hit it if it
really?
attaches to the front of the Titan, it'll blind it.
I feel like Campaign does a pretty good job of introducing you to these things. Like, it keeps giving you these new Titan loadouts and kind of teaching you what these different cores do and these abilities. Like, I haven't played a second of multiplayer yet, but these things you're describing, I feel like the campaign taught me a lot of that.
The campaign actually is really pretty good at teaching you about Titan combat, I think. More than anything else, it's good at that. Which I thought was effective. I played those multiplayer tests, and it actually took me a bit to realize like what they had changed about Titans in Titanfall 2. And again, they're different in the single player, so it doesn't necessarily teach you like, hey, here's how the life bars work, but it really is like you get.
They give you a scenario. You get a new core or something like that,
right?
And it's like it'll show you the abilities, and it'll give you a perfect scenario in which you can
exactly,
execute those.
And it gives you,
good practice.
You can swap that loadout whenever you like, so
Yeah.
you really get to try out all those different things and then go like, okay, these abilities are what I'm looking for in multiplayer. So like now in multiplayer, I actually unlocked Tone immediately upon launching it because I know that's the Titan chassis that I want to use in multiplayer.
I know that
almost exclusively.
Is there one chassis that has the hold RB to lock on a billion fucking missiles?
Yes.
Okay, that's the thing I like the most.
That is in there.
Okay, cool.
Yes, that is in there.
And that's a specific chassis, or is that an ability you can attach to numerous chassis?
No, so the Titan loadouts in multiplayer are more or less set in terms of what weapons and abilities you have. It's just about enhancements on those abilities. So
perks, basically, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it'll be like for Tone, which has a shield that you drop down in front of you. The loadout ability will make that shield more resilient if you choose that one.
And that's the one that you place and you can like move away from. And
yeah.
Okay.
So like the Tone's lock on missiles and stuff like that. One of the other multiplayer abilities, it's got 2 more missiles in its salvo. Like it's those sorts of changes. You don't necessarily say, I want this Titan, this gun, this missile pack. Like it's more about the chassis has the weapons, the loadouts determine like, what you're gonna have.
Okay.
They moved the electric smoke. That was a thing that you kind of had to have in Titanfall 1 if you had to burn a loadout spot on it if you wanted to knock people off when they jump up on top. That's something that you just earn now as a part of doing well in a Titan. And so you
like
can
a kill streak reward type
kind
thing?
of. Yeah.
Okay.
As that meter fills, because you're building your core. You build the Titan,
Right,
you
right.
get in the
The
Titan, then you
percentage
build
thing.
the core.
Yeah.
And so it's a certain percentage in the core will say, now you've got electric smoke. So if someone jumps on you, you can do that. And then there's a loadout option for start with additional electric smoke if you really want to be good at keeping people from jumping on you. Those ninja stars, there's also like a gravity well ninja star that will suck things into it. You can actually shoot into that thing to make it explode better when it explodes.
Really? It shoots the bullets out?
Fuck. It's fucking neat.
Shot combo.
Yeah,
basically.
kind of. There's just that game is just full of a bunch of really fucking neat ideas, and it feels great.
That's cool.
And that like playing that multiplayer tech test, I enjoyed it, but it didn't necessarily sink in until I spent like a kind of a lot more time with it. Like it's fucking fun.
I wonder where it's going to fit in, like in this fucking month of shooters.
I don't know.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like Battlefield, mostly Battlefield, and then to some extent Infinite Warfare are kind of like dominating the conversation about shooters.
I mean, that's
for the most part.
Battlefield and
Yeah,
Call of Duty
yeah.
are bigger, longer running franchises.
So I
It's
wonder,
only natural.
I wonder where this fits in.
Yeah,
Clearly, like it right in between in terms of releases. But
I went and played. So they also were running the Call of Duty beta
Yeah.
again over the last weekend. I went and played a couple of matches of that after having played quite a bit of Titanfall. It just feels so fucking stiff. Like it's got a lot of the same stuff, wall running, knee slides, like all that sort of stuff. But it just feels fucking bad by comparison. And that game, I haven't seen the final version of that game. I actually haven't played the final version of Battlefield either.
Yeah.
But like I really really like Titanfall. It's
Also, single player
sounds super
boss
promising.
fights. I like
yes,
that.
it has interesting boss fights. Like that's some good Titan on Titan combat.
Yeah.
Like they've got dumb action movie characters in that thing. Like there's stuff in there that evokes the Call of Duty 4 campaign in some really interesting ways. I guess actually there's kind of one. There's also near the end of that game, it reminded me of the end of Bionic Commando, the reboot.
Really?
oh no,
But not necessarily in an awful way.
Okay.
Like that game, when it goes for it, it just fucking goes for it. And that's the stuff where you see it, like that's when I say it's disjointed, but that's not always a bad thing. That's kind of what I mean. Is there's like sometimes it just fucking goes nuts, and you're like, holy shit, all right, this is fucking weird, but okay, let's fucking go. Like the story's not amazing.
yeah.
It
Sounds like the stuff you're doing is pretty good.
yeah, but like the stuff you're doing is fun to do. It's a fun campaign to play.
It's just so weird when they'll introduce a completely new type of mechanic and you mess around with it and it's like, oh, crazy, I didn't know it was going to do this. And then flash forward an hour and you're never using it again. It's just like, oh, okay, I guess that was just for that little part.
There's some
that
stuff
was
in
cool.
there that is just like, hey, here's the thing, this concept we came up with, and now that's done.
I think it's cool.
I didn't expect the campaign in this thing to be. I mean, not like the multiplayer has got anything wrong with it, but like for the campaign to be that big a draw is kind of unexpected.
And I'm not going to say that it's like a huge draw. If you don't care about the multiplayer, I don't know that the campaign is like meaty enough to justify the purchase price.
Sounds like it's relatively short.
It's like 5 or 6.
It's kind of standard shooter campaign length.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not super long.
All right, that's 5 hours pretty
I
short.
mean, that's like a Call of Duty one. That's standard.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also like it doesn't have a co-op mode, which they added. They bolted a co-op mode onto the previous game, like a wave-based survival, like a horde mode thing.
Yeah, saying that thing had any kind of real campaign is a major stretch.
No. I'm just saying, like like that would be a cool thing to see here also. If not that mode, then like I hope that they do something cooperative at some point.
Some kind of a
over the course
horde-ish
of this,
thing. If
right.
they've got all these
Yeah.
unique mechanics in there, like
Yeah.
built around some of that stuff, that would be cool.
The unique mechanics that we're talking about would not necessarily like there are multiplayer loadout things that are similar in nature to this campaign shit we're talking about, but not quite the same.
Now I
There's a specific one that there's
Now
no
I
way.
am
specific
mega
thing
curious
that is-
about what you're talking
There's a
about.
specific thing in that game that like you could see it being prototyped as this cool thing, and then they had to come up with some
justification
fucking
for-
storyline justification for why it's there.
now I'm dying to know what you're
There's-
talking about.
There's it's fucking neat.
All right, now I want to play that game.
Yeah, it's
And the
I
way
have had
it's-
a great time with it.
The way it's presented, even I'm trying not to say too much. Visually, the way they indicate things when that stuff's going on is really cool.
Yeah, it's a really fucking wild moment. There are some there are some really cool moments in that campaign, even if the story itself is just kind of hung on it. In
That's
some ways.
fine. If the stuff you're doing is like looks cool and is fun, like the story,
and the dialogue's good enough. Like the interplay between you and the robot, I think is good.
Yeah.
There's some decent writing around it and stuff like that. It's fun.
Yeah, I like
it's
the
fun.
robot to the point where when it was in peril in a storyline moment, I'd be like, I wouldn't want to lose the guy.
Yeah.
So he's a cool dude.
all right.
Oh man, yeah.
I like robots who are cool dudes.
Yeah.
There is There's some,
All right.
good, there's some good stuff in that
All
campaign.
right.
There's some stuff.
I guess
some stuff that you finished it, right?
Yeah.
All right. We have to talk about a pretty late game thing that is just like this sequence that is not unlike the start of the game, but it makes you feel like the rawest motherfucker on the planet for a little bit there.
Oh.
Where it's just like, oh shit, like what the fuck? Man?
I think I know
Yeah,
what you mean.
there's-
It's a simple thing that makes you feel like a total badass.
It's just like, oh, here's this thing you didn't think was going to be in here. Here it totally is.
I know
and now
exactly
fuck
what
shit up with this. Like,
while
oh
you're
my
wall
God.
running and stuff.
Yeah,
it's
there's fucking
fucking
there's some
awesome.
cool stuff in
So
that.
they asked you not to talk specifics for a reason, is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those rare cases where the stuff that they don't want to talk about actually like is cool stuff.
right.
Usually, it's like here's a list of things not to discuss.
Yeah,
and you're
usually
like,
that stuff
fucking
is like,
what?
come on, whatever.
But also like you know, again, it's not some huge storyline stuff. It's just there are cool moments in that campaign that are mechanically interesting as well. And that's the maybe the best thing I can say about it is that across that game you really get the sense that they really gave a shit about how all of it played. You know,
Okay.
It's not always about like, hey, let's, you know, they don't have like some of the faces on some of the characters you see don't look awesome compared to other console games, and there's some stuff like that you see along the way, but like every part of it feels like it's there for a reason.
Okay. I mean, there's
yeah.
plenty of shooters, plenty of meat and potato shooters with amazing production values out there.
Exactly.
Like if this thing
Yeah.
went a different direction, then it's
Yes.
more interesting as a result.
I absolutely think that's the
that
case.
is-
Whatever. I have not played either of those other games in their retail state, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I will say that game feels fucking great.
That sounds awesome. I need to play that.
Yeah, I'd like to play that too.
But first, we need to take a break. We're going to take another break. Let's break.
This episode of this podcast is brought to you by this mattress company.
Mattresses, my favorite topic.
Leesa. 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 They've done away with the awkward mattress showroom experience.
They tried it out and found that experience wanting.
Exactly.
You think?
They went and watched a guy in a probably ill-fitting suit watch them lay down, and they said, we can do it better by mail. They'll compress a mattress into a box the size of a mini fridge and ship it to your doorstep for free.
You know what is cool about not going to a mattress showroom?
Everything.
Well, yeah.
But what specifically?
I was thinking you don't have to lay on a mattress that like a zillion other people have laid on before you.
Yeah, that's you get a fresh mattress shipped to your door. Yeah. It's a 10-inch mattress, comes in all sizes. It's got 3 foam layers, designed to keep you cool. It's made in the USA, ships for free to anywhere in the US or Canada, and you've got 100 nights to try it out. So
That's a lot of nights.
If after 99 nights you're like,
Yeah.
forget it. 99 nights was A, not a very good video game. B, enough for this Leesa
Sure,
mattress.
that's plenty of time.
Then you can send it back risk-free.
The mattress shows up clean.
Uh-huh.
What you do with it after that,
That's up to you.
that's your business.
But for every 10 of those mattresses they sell, they do donate one to a shelter. That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
It's good of them.
You can head over to leesa.com/bombcast and enter the promo code BOMBCAST at checkout to get $75 off.
It's a lot of dollars.
It's dollars.
It's almost 99.
That's almost $99.
$75,
It's almost
99
almost
nights.
$1 a night.
Yeah. That's just math.
Yeah.
And we are back. Drew,
Yes.
what you been up to?
I've been enjoying the summer.
Okay.
The summer of My Summer Car, which is a game
Oh,
on Steam.
yeah.
What?
Yeah. Tell me about your summer car.
Well, it's in Finland.
It's a bad place for it to be.
Yeah, because there's as I've learned, a lot of mosquitoes in Finland.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When you launch this game, there's a buzzing sound of a mosquito, and it doesn't go away.
Are you sure that the game just isn't broken?
I'm not sure of that.
Are you sure
but I
there's
think
not
the
like a
mosquito
mosquito
is
in your
supposed
room?
to be there.
Okay.
This is an early access game. It is $15 on sale right now for $13.49. And it is first person. You start in a house in the kitchen, I think, where there's a case of beer and some sausages
And mosquito.
and a mosquito. You can't see it though. It's not like a Mr. Mosquito sort of situation.
Okay. That's the sequel.
Right. Yeah, maybe DLC. And then you look outside, and in your driveway is a shell of a car. And you have a garage full of parts. And you can pick up those parts and put them on the car, provided they go in the proper place. There is no indication of what order to put these
Okay.
Parts in, where each part goes.
Uh-huh.
Is there only one place each one can go?
Yep, and
Okay.
it appears to be very, very accurate in the way that this actual car is constructed.
Wow.
How
So
many
it's like
parts?
building a PC then.
Yes.
Okay.
It's easy, I
Yeah.
heard, right?
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Just a screwdriver, you're fine.
How many parts? Probably like 50. I don't know.
Okay.
It's not
tiny ones, big ones.
Yeah, so it's like there are, a dozen parts to the suspension. It doesn't have individual screws, so when you find where to put a part, it clicks into place. But then you've got to go to your toolbox, get the right size wrench, find where the screw is, and it'll highlight, and then you have to like roll the mouse wheel down to screw in each individual screw.
Is
Is
this
this
all
in
like?
VR? This should be a VR
Yeah,
game.
this sounds very. Is it physics based?
There
you
is
have to,
physics.
Like, you have to like line things up and make it, or does it kind of automate, like makes things snap together and stuff like that?
It does a little bit of snapping. So when you pick up like the piece of suspension, and then you can use the mouse wheel to like rotate it around a little bit, and then you line it up, and there's a little check mark, and then you click, and then it kind of goes pop, and it snaps into place. But if you don't screw things in, and it'll stay there and let you screw it in, but if you forget to, you put on the next part, and everything falls apart.
Okay.
So I think that once you do put all the parts in the right place, you'll get to drive the car around.
At any point, can you just hit like a red button that's like, hey, I'm ready. Let's try to run this car, even if you're missing like, a carburetor?
You can get in the car, yeah. And
Okay.
like you hit enter to enter car driving mode, and then you can try to start it.
Man, how awesome would it be if they modeled all the effects of exactly what would happen if you tried to crank an engine in its current state?
I mean, I think that's
Oil's going to
kind
shoot out of here, or the whole thing's going to explode.
So as you're building your car, your phone rings sometimes, and you can go and pick it up. And a guy in Finnish says that he wants. Let's see, my guy wanted. I think there are multiple missions that they can send you on,
Okay.
but he wanted firewood. I haven't figured out where the firewood is yet, but I do have a van.
And the van's already built.
The van's already built. It
Okay.
operates, and to drive the van, you get in it. You use Q to lean. You find the ignition. You hold it, and then you've got to, as you're holding it, as it's turning over, you have to give it gas. Only then will it start.
Yeah.
Then you can let go of the ignition. You got to find the parking brake, put that in, and then hit the clutch, and then shift up to first gear.
I assume once you do this, you just have a giant like GTA caliber open world, right?
There is an open world.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you could just drive around Finland. There's a map on the wall that the developer recommends you like print out or copy down so you can figure out where to go. It's very realistic. Also, there's permadeath.
What the fuck is
Okay.
this?
Yeah.
My summer car
My summer car.
on Steam Early Access.
Sounds totally insane.
It's kind of awesome.
Huh.
Could I learn
I
how
wanna
to build
see
a
some of
car
that.
with this?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like all the parts appear to be real.
Does it
looks like a
explain to you what they
Datsun.
are? Because I don't really know what
No.
any car part that's not a wheel does.
You can hover over it and it'll say like left, brake disc.
Okay.
But it doesn't say like that goes on after the axle or whatever. Like when you start, your car is the shell. There's no wheels. There's no like.
It's like a
Oh,
sports
so
car?
it's not just the engine that you're building.
No.
Oh, wow.
There's no engine.
Right.
There's no seats. There's no dashboard.
Are the
It is
doors in there?
No. It's just the metal part of the car.
Oh, wow.
So it's a frame.
That's ridiculous.
It's a frame. Yeah. And then all the parts are in your garage.
I kind of want to try this.
It makes me want to actually build a car. It's awesome.
That's
My
that's-
summer car.
That sounds really
Can't
dope.
wait to see this.
Huh.
Yep.
Cool.
That's all I've been playing.
Can you build a car like that wacky build-a-car game he played on UPF where you put the wheels on top and flip over? And
Unfortunately, it doesn't let you put parts where they are not supposed
you
to
can't
go.
get wacky with it.
You can't get wacky.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
game
serious
is
summer car.
The
Okay.
game is wacky enough.
It's in early
Okay.
access. So
Right.
Also,
yeah.
there's a button to make your fist into a middle finger, and then it swears.
Okay.
And there's a P button.
I mean, you're probably going to want to swear at a car if you're working on a car.
Yeah, I
True.
think that's what it's for.
yeah.
You might need to pee at some point.
Can you pee on the car?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And to save, it's the toilet.
like any good open world game.
Did Suda make this?
Maybe he's. Yeah, it's a Finnish collaboration.
Secretly, this is the game he's really been making. That other thing.
You have hunger, thirst, and bladder meters.
Wait.
Okay.
So you have to like craft and like eat raccoons or something, or
No, there's sausage in the
oh,
kitchen.
okay. So you just go to the fridge
it
whenever your hunger
unlimited?
meter goes down.
Unlimited supply.
I don't know. I drank a beer and
It is Finland. so-
it exhausted the beer.
I wonder if you have to drive the van to the grocery store to refill.
Why do you need to build
maybe.
a car if you already have a van?
I mean,
'Cause
different
Summer
purposes.
project, man.
Man, I
Yeah.
guess so.
Maybe
All
we want to rally it.
Summer
Can't rally
car.
a van. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Summer car.
That sounds really dumb.
Yep.
Jason, I understand you played 2 minutes worth of video games.
No, I played more than 2 minutes.
Okay.
But actually, there wasn't much time because we had our son's first birthday.
Yes, I'm
party.
sorry I missed that.
That's okay. It was a good time. I think anyway.
Yeah.
We started a little bit late. Like Lisa really, really, really wanted to like just go all out, right? So she's like, up like 6 hours before the party. She's like,
Strippers.
baking. Strippers.
Gotta get the pole installed.
I was in charge of those.
Okay.
I had that on lockdown. But yeah, she's like baking cupcakes and decorating them, and of course, a cake for Griffin as well. So, I'm bringing all the
Smash
stuff.
cake.
I'm bringing all the stuff down just 5 minutes before the party starts. We had it at our place, like out in the garage. We've got some like seating areas there and stuff. I dropped the cake. It tipped right over and hit the cupcakes, which then flew everywhere, all over the floor. And naturally, they don't land on the bottom.
No.
They land right on the top. And that was a long walk outside to tell my wife that I just destroyed the cake that she had worked on for like
that's
6
rough.
hours. And she just got a blank stare, and she just shut up immediately and turned
Immediately started
and just like went upstairs.
immediately start pouring out more cake mix.
Yeah. No. The cake ended up being fine.
Oh.
She just kind of chopped off,
Okay.
the part that landed.
Oh,
and,
okay. Salvageable.
Yeah, salvageable cake.
It actually was salvageable. So there were, and when we had like 5 or 6 like leftover cupcakes that we hadn't decorated yet, so everything worked out. But just like, fuck,
You're supposed to let the baby destroy the cake.
Exactly. Yeah. And he didn't really get into it. Like
Yeah.
he touched it and he grabbed it and he's like, "What the hell is this thing? Whatever. Give me my toys." Yeah, we had a super good time.
Cool.
But other than that, I've been playing a Sleepaway Camp. No,
Ooh.
not sleep. God, that's
Yep.
the movie. I've
Yeah.
done that like 16 times
Yeah.
since playing this. Slayaway Camp.
Okay.
It's actually a puzzle game, and you play as the slasher. The gameplay is kind of like a
You
slide
are-
puzzle. You are the Jason.
Jason.
Yeah. It's kind of like a
Checks
slide
out.
puzzle in that you can't just move like one space. You actually just kind of swipe a direction, and you'll go the entire distance. Whether or not you hit a wall or hit like a fireplace and die, or hit like a person and kill them. That's the kind of control scheme. It's interesting.
But in terms of like scale and I guess look, it's
it's very blocky,
top down blocky, like sort of like a Hitman
Isometric.
Go sort of
Okay.
deal
A little
where
bit.
you're sliding things around.
and
Is
it's
that kind of a
cutesy
puzzle
and
game, right?
voxely.
Is it mobile? Or-
You would think so because
Okay.
the UI completely looks like a mobile game, but it's
Yeah.
only coming out on like Steam right now.
Okay.
I think. So, but I'd imagine there's going to be mobile ports coming. But if you're a fan of like horror movie slasher films, there's just a lot of fucking Easter eggs in there. Just
What
like
if I
the
only like
aesthetic in there.
Sleepaway Camp 3?
Then you're in good company, actually. So yeah, I think it'd be right up your alley.
All right.
For sure. I think it's like $9
Okay.
on Steam
That sounds
today.
cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I don't know if we'll do a quick look. There's not much to the gameplay, but it might be cool, like showing off all the skins. You can earn different skins, like play as, Jason's mother, as it
Hockey
were.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. There's like a Candyman
Burn
equivalent.
victim. Yeah.
Yeah. You can unlock different
Pumpkinhead.
kill animations, which is kind of cool. So most of the time when you kill somebody, it'll switch to like a cutscene, and you can choose to slow it down and stuff. And it's just this, I don't know. It's a cool visual effect. It's really neat.
Cool.
What else? Oh, God
Eater?
Yeah, there was some God Eater.
One step ahead of me.
My capybara is fucking huge.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got a pet capybara.
Can you ride it?
No, you can't, but he can actually help you on missions. He can be
Okay.
your mission control dude.
Nice.
And now he's just like, he's fucking monstrous. He's great. Capybara and God Eater. That game's okay.
God Eater minute. There you go.
Did I fill
Oh,
up
you
the
got
time?
like 40 seconds left. If you want to.
I made a new suit. I made a new sword. They're all pretty badass. Yeah, that's
Did you say you have a sword made out of a cake or something?
It's a chocolate bar, right?
Yeah,
Candy-
you can
candy
make
bar
a chocolate.
sword,
Yeah,
yeah.
Or you can make a gun that looks like strawberry shortcake.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff
That
in there.
sounds like a dumb game.
It's a really dumb, like fun game. But other than that, Titanfall 2 as well. I'm about 2/3 of the way through the campaign, dude. I mimic everything. Yeah, Jeff's saying about it. Feels very, very good.
Cool.
Can't wait to do the multiplayer.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Sweet.
All right.
And then we built that PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Is that good?
Yeah, it's
Done?
no, totally. It is done.
All right.
Yeah, you guys took off to go live a life, stranding Jason with me.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Lisa.
And then we realized after you left that the very first thing that we did was wrong.
I just didn't want to do all the work for you.
What was that?
Yeah,
That was the problem.
When I handed you those screws to screw the back plate to the back of the motherboard for the cooler,
Yeah.
those
Those
were
posts?
the wrong posts.
Wrong screws?
So when we got to
Really?
the cooler and tried to put it on, nope.
Huh.
So that's where we stopped the stream.
Okay.
There was not enough space between motherboard and case to stick the.
Well, the threads are actually different sizes.
Yeah.
Width
So
and
the
length.
wrong size threads were facing up.
They were
So
too
the
big.
screw
Okay.
downs to like affix the
The
cooler
caps.
to the CPU did not fit on those screws.
Great.
So that was not that hard to fix, but we fixed that, and then we're like, okay, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then I went home, and someone in the comments on the video helpfully posted a link to, it's like a Linus Tech Tips. He's this dude, and he was like, here's me applying thermal paste in 8 different ways, and it's the exact same temperature every time. Fucking don't worry about it.
All right.
And I saw that and went like, don't worry about it. Okay, all right, good. And then I took some rubbing alcohol, cleaned off the cooler and the CPU because we had attempted to put it
Oh,
on.
it had already been on.
Yes,
I was
it had already been on.
wondering because it
had already
came
been
with it. I was wondering
on.
why
Yes,
you
it
were
had
doing
already-
it. Okay.
We pushed it all on there.
that ship had
and then
sailed.
couldn't figure out why we couldn't
Yeah.
screw it down.
Yeah.
And
For
then
about
so
a
I was like,
half
okay,
hour.
yeah,
Yeah.
for about a half. Yeah.
Okay.
So replacing those screws.
Yeah.
Then cleaning it all up, putting a pea of thermal paste on there, super easy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fucking holding that thing down on there, screwing it on, super easy, super fucking easy.
Yeah.
Like I basically
got the right ones
I
on
got
there.
home and spent like 20 minutes like finishing the computer basically, and then it booted on first boot and was fine.
Nice.
And
So everything else we did was fine.
100%.
It just sucks though because it's like that was the final thing that we really
we
needed
were
to put on.
right fucking there.
But at that point, it was like 2 hours past.
Yeah.
Like
It was like
That's
7
that's why I never want to
something.
build in the case. But I mean, obviously with that water cooling stuff, like that became kind of
Oh,
impossible.
your
to
water coolant?
Yeah, it's so fucking quiet. That computer is fucking. That computer could murder you in your fucking sleep. It is so goddamn quiet. And it's fat. I don't know. I installed Forza. They've been patching it obviously to make it a little bit better, but when it came up and recommended a setting, it recommended Ultra, which felt good because my old machine it recommended Medium. And I'm playing that with everything turned all the way on, and it's locked at 60.
Nice.
So I should probably turn off VSync and actually see how high it'll go.
So your video card though is still fan based, right?
So yes, it is not a fanless. I mean, there are
I mean,
fans
water
on the
cooler,
cooler.
The radiator has fans on
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah,
but
okay.
Doesn't the case have?
Yeah,
built-in
there are
fans?
2 case
Yeah.
fans as well. But
Can you turn those off?
The thing
I
about
mean,
the thing
yeah,
about
you
fans
lose
is
coolant.
the bigger the fan, the slower it has to turn to move the same amount of
Right,
air.
right.
So
So
you've got a bunch of 120 millimeter fans.
So your
in there.
loudest fan is always the CPU
They're
fan.
going to be very quiet.
If you are using a stock cooler, that's going to be a smaller fan. But there's no fan directly on the CPU because it's the
right, but
hoses
that's
going
why
off
your
to the-
computer is really quiet now because you've replaced the loudest.
It would be
fan.
quiet anyway because
Yeah.
it's a quiet case. It's a upgraded version of the same case I was using before, which is already really quiet, which is nice because that computer is sitting right behind me, serving up Plex server stuff and being storage and stuff like that. Is a fast fucking computer.
Yeah.
I was encoding video at like 300 frames a second,
Wow.
stuff like that.
Those are good
It's-
CPUs.
An
you
FFC.
ran a benchmark?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
No,
I was actually
still-
going
I
to
still
ask
need
you
do
to
some stuff.
to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's so that was Unprofessional Fridays last week if you want to catch that, and the list of parts I used is in the video notes for that video.
I
So,
used that part picker.
it's a good site.
That thing is great.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the compatibility filter stuff seems like it would be useful.
Yeah, specifically with stuff like the water cooler in that case.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Not
Like,
knowing
yeah.
if you can actually, because case stuff, like you never know if like this video card going
Right.
to fit with the drive bays there, and yeah.
Yeah, so the only thing I have left to do, so I went out over the weekend and I bought a 4 terabyte hard drive also because I needed more onboard storage for some stuff, and put that in there. And that was just, it's just cheap storage. Like it was $110 or something like that.
Jeez.
So
Really?
Whatever. Yeah, it's 5,400 RPMs.
Oh,
It's not
yeah,
it's a blue. It's not a great hard drive, but for what I need it for, that speed is fine. So I threw that in there. And the only thing I have left to do now is I put the optical drive in, which I had left at home.
Sure.
The only thing I've left to do now is I think I left the cable that goes from the CPU cooler to one of the USB leads. I think that's in the studio somewhere.
Oh,
because it was
really?
not in my
Okay.
bag.
Okay.
So I
We'll
must have
find it.
just forgotten to grab it.
Wait, so
I-
is that thing not powered?
It's powered. That's just a sensor thing for
Measure
like, hey, how's it
RPMs
spinning
and stuff like that.
I don't know that I actually care.
Temperature and stuff.
But
like that.
I guess if I'm going to start fucking around with it and maybe overclocking or anything like that, then I'm probably going to want to do that.
I have. There's one more question, and it's the most important question.
All right.
Did you plug in the LED on that backplate?
I did.
Oh man, what does it look like?
It's like a red.
It's a glow.
Yeah, it's like a red glow
Does it
around
look
the back plate.
It's like animate.
I think it will pulse with audio.
Oh
I'm not
man,
sure.
that's super dumb.
There's some BIOS settings around like audio settings and stuff that
Okay.
I think might be that, or it might be some other light on the case. I don't know.
That's really dumb.
It's really dumb. It's a fast fucking computer.
Yeah, new PCs are fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It inspired me. Just this morning about new CPU,
Oh, shit.
motherboard, and RAM.
Did you go 6700?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the thing to
And
get.
then I realized that my old motherboard, is not going to support, the new CPU or the RAM.
That's
so
always the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
it got expensive real quick. I'm just like, I just want to upgrade my processor, but no, I got to do everything else.
You don't get to.
That stuff snowballs
Yeah.
quickly.
But yeah, that was. I mean, I suspect that if that had been like a focused, like, let's sit down and build this machine and not show stuff to the camera, I bet we could have done that in an hour and a half max.
Sure.
Like that was a relatively easy build, I would say. We ran into our issue, but it was easily corrected, and yeah.
I learned how to dance.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
Yeah. You learned how to play some DDR.
Everybody-
By the end of that, I think you were actually getting it. You were getting what I
Yeah.
was saying about just like step around that mat.
I mean, I was still bad. I was still getting like C's and
Whatever.
low
I mean,
scores. But like,
you know.
I get it.
Yeah.
Did
More than I
having-
did when I first stepped on that.
Yeah.
Did having Regina there help you kind of get a feel for how you're supposed to play?
Not really, because we were doing 2-player,
Yeah.
and it's not like I was, watching her stuff when there's a billion arrows coming at my thing. So, but
And
no, I
didn't
got it.
everything spun so far out of control that I didn't get to dance. So
Mm.
we left that stuff here. I mostly just wanted to play DDR. So
It was pretty fun. I can see
Yeah.
why that's a thing.
What-
Or was.
Are those PS2 dance mats?
PS1.
Is there, I guess you could get those into a computer, right?
Yes,
Is there
yeah.
anything to do with hooking up a dance mat to a computer?
You could install Stepmania, an open.
yeah.
I don't know if it's open source, but it is open dancing game that people have made all kinds of steps for.
Okay.
All of the official Konami songs that you can then download with all the step
Sure.
charts and all that other stuff if you
Okay.
want to go that fucking filthy route.
Okay.
But also other songs and stuff like that. People have done all kinds of shit.
Do you remember the bootleg Guitar Heroes during the peak of all that stuff, and you could play it with the keyboard? Like you could put your own MP3s in there and set it up so you could kind of do it.
Yeah, I mean,
sorta
you
worked.
can emulate some of the early arcade Guitar Freaks games,
Huh.
and I've held a 360 controller in some weird ways to try to do that right. But so that's the other thing is now that I've brought in that PS1 and we're starting down this rabbit hole, I'm gonna bring in Guitar Freaks 1 and 2
Okay.
and my guitars, so we can play some proper guitar-based rhythm games.
Okay.
All right.
Is Tycho next? Can we play Tycho?
We got a Taiko drum sitting in a
Oh, yeah?
box down there, right?
Oh yeah, I
And
I
I've got a
salvaged those
sealed
from
PS2 Taiko Drum Master at home.
Japanese or
US. I think.
perfect.
But I've got a PS2 that would play it either way.
I do too.
Yeah.
I just want to play Tycho.
I never got into Taiko that much.
It's so
It
good.
just seemed a little too simple, I guess. I mean, I
Awesome?
guess like the
Do you
harder
mean-
songs get going, right?
Do you
But
mean
like,
awesome? I think you mean awesome.
it's just the number of potential interactions was low.
Sure.
Left, right, or both, or side stick, right? That's it.
Yeah, that's a bunch. I mean, what do you got in DDR? 4 directions.
4 directions and your feet.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are just way into percussion.
Yeah.
Some people
no,
like
so
banging on drums.
That's
I
kinda
bought
what it
Drum
is for
Mania
me.
for the PS2, and that PS2 drum kit, or actually, I didn't. A website I was working for at the time paid for that thing. It's just been sitting in my garage for 15 years. That squishy, pressure-sensitive kick pedal, like that was a bad product. Drum Mania on the PS2 was bad.
Yeah, from what I remember, that was
Yeah,
pretty
I think it
poopy.
was pretty rotten. But I've got it. We can do that.
Speaking of peripherals,
Yeah.
I've been trying to spend some more time with the PlayStation VR stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have been clawing my way through Headmaster.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I got the Platinum in Job Simulator. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I said that last week.
I
but
played through one of the jobs there, and I can see how
It is the easiest.
Very quickly
it
you
might
could
be
get a
the
platinum
easiest platinum trophy
in that thing.
on the platforms.
Headmaster
On any
doesn't even have a platinum trophy, which I think is insane because it's one of the hardest games I have ever played in my entire fucking life.
How much of that is
Wow.
due to just the tracking and like the
So that-
aspect of it?
So that's kind of a separate thing, but I 100% had that rest mode problem with that game last night
Yeah.
because I forgot and took the thing out of rest mode and just fired that game up. like scene going all over the place.
So can you describe that issue? So if you're doing a VR game and you put it into rest
if you
mode,
wake the PS4 up from rest mode instead of a cold boot.
It's not even putting one of the VR games into rest mode. It's literally just taking the PS4 out of rest mode in any way.
even if you didn't have one booted up?
Even if you didn't have the game running, just having the PS4, or who knows what the specifics are. Maybe you have to have played a VR game before you did rest mode, and then again after.
I think it's just like the camera itself works differently when it comes out of rest mode.
Yeah.
Maybe even not even necessarily related to VR stuff, but the tracking changes in a way.
So the night before, it had been working totally fine. Then last night, I was sitting in the exact same distance, like lighting level, everything, and it was just going fucking nuts. I rebooted the PS4, started the game back up, it was totally fine again.
Yeah.
So,
It's like when you start up a 64 and one of the controllers is upside down and it's pushing the analog
exactly
stick in a direction.
It's kind of,
yeah,
it's a little bit like that.
So that was the hope, is that they pushed out firmware 405 today.
Oh, they did?
Which I was hoping maybe would fix that. But I have not tried it, but I kind of put out the call on Twitter, and one person responded and said, you would think so, but no.
Okay.
And I guess like some like working PS4 hack jailbreak thing was demoed on 401 in China recently. So this is probably a response to that.
That's okay. So maybe that's all they changed.
Yeah.
Even when that game's working, though, like I am at the end of the game, and I don't feel like I have ever gotten the slightest bit better at it. Like it just feels completely random. Like no way to really like there's no in-game indicator like how close or far away you should be or how you should angle your head. Like it is so sensitive to the tiniest little head movements that like it feels like you're playing a crane game or something.
Isn't this supposed to be one of the best PSVR games?
I don't know who said that.
Everything
early
else about
on,
it, like when we were demoing and stuff, I was like, "Oh, this is really clever writing," and it felt pretty good.
Oh yeah. Everything else. So that's kind of why I even bring it up, and I'm so bummed out because everything else about the game is so likable.
Okay, yeah, it's one of the few I felt there was actually any kind of buzz.
Yeah, totally. And when we played the demo versions a while back, like it was very much like, well, I'm not doing great here, but I bet this is something you could really master, and that's what's killing me is that I can't even begin the first step of the process of mastering it. It feels like, I mean, like you play the same level over and over and over, you start dialing it in a little bit, but like it just never feels like you have anywhere near the type of like control over the way the balls are going that you would want out of a game like that. Because it's full of, the later levels are full of, first of all, you have to earn a bunch of stars to unlock multiple tiers, and you're constantly having to go back and like grind out more stars. They're constantly throwing stuff at you that gets in the way of your balls in like a really haha fuck you kind of way in a game that is nearly impossible to play precisely to begin with.
I was gonna say like that stuff probably only works if you feel like you've got proper precision in the head tracking and just like if you feel like you're in control of it.
And then there's a bunch of dialogue where the guy mocks you every time you fail stuff. So like at a certain point, it's just like one thing too many in a game that I'm just like struggling to get better at.
Yeah, the whole point of the game is to aim accurately. Yeah. It seems like the precision would be pretty important.
Some of those levels are insanely demanding in terms of like how far away the targets are and like the crazy head movements you have to do to like kind of dial it, like get the trajectory you want. Like
just to pass the level or to get the 3 stars?
Yeah, I have routinely hitting levels that I can't even pass the first like 3 or 4 tries.
Jeez.
It's crazy hard. I got to the last exam last night, and I don't think I'll ever finish it because I just couldn't even.
Why are you still playing it?
Because everything else, like I said, it's super likable, and like I want to say it goes places, but I don't want you to think that like you end up on the moon or something like that. Like it doesn't get that crazy. Like you're still within this motif
Soccer
of
jail.
Like soccer jail is basically it is. That's the whole game, but like they get clever with that.
Yeah,
like it's not like you're going around the world or anything, but like within the confines of the prison,
struggle between the characters and stuff like that,
or just like the idea.
They hinted that around the first exam, I think. Right?
Yeah. So like you're not spending the whole game on a soccer field, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Basically, like you go other places and like they get kind of silly with some of the things you're heading, and stuff like that, and like that stuff's fun to see.
Is there a watermelon at any point?
Not exactly, but there's sort of similar stuff.
Okay,
kind of.
There's a beach ball power up, right?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it gets silly like that, but it's just, man, I just wish it was easier to dial that game in and play it well. It's really infuriating. I've been exploring the world of Final Fantasy a little bit.
Yeah, what's up? What is that thing? What is World of Final Fantasy?
I came to that thing because they were like, hey, all your favorites are here. Like there's totally characters from like basically every Final Fantasy through 13.
Okay, who are your favorites? Give me a list.
Like from 4 and 6, let's say.
No, I want fucking names. If they're your favorites.
Come on, Brad.
Cecil's cool.
Okay, yes.
I like Cecil.
All right,
I like
that
Rosa.
is. Yeah.
Kane's okay.
Yeah.
Kane felt like the Final Fantasy character that fans of The Crow were way into.
Yeah,
Does that
Kane
make
is the
sense? He's the
reaper
fucking-
of the
yes.
world of Final Fantasy.
He's the super edgy anti-hero
Yeah.
guy that jumps off the screen for 2 turns.
yeah.
Who are the twins in 4? I like them.
Palam and
Polarum.
Palam and Param,
Right,
Palam and
right.
Param, and however you say it. I don't know. Everybody in 4 is cool. I like other people from 6 too. But,
4 is the game for me. That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
How wide's that breadth though? Like, how many Final Fantasies are they?
So
journeying
I'm
from?
only. Oh, you mean how many are in this game?
Yeah,
I
sure.
think the marketing straight up says like characters up through 13 will appear,
Wow.
and you see a ton of them in the images and stuff.
Okay,
that
and
they
these
put
are all
out.
like super deformed, like
Yeah.
SD characters.
But so-
kinda cutesy.
Chibi Lightning.
Yeah, totally. Like everything is chibi in this thing.
Yeah.
But the framework of this game is like Kingdom Hearts esque in that the
Sorry. No, go ahead. Sorry, it's just
on.
natural reaction. Okay.
Go on. Without the Kingdom Hearts like crazy story.
Is Donald Duck in this game?
no.
Okay.
No
Is
Donald
he
Duck,
canonically in the Final Fantasy universe?
Donald Duck is busy elsewhere these days.
What's he doing?
That's not
Quackshot? Is he doing a Quackshot?
Yeah, Quackshot. He's filming the reboot of Quackshot.
Okay.
It's pretty.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
What I mean is that they created new characters whole cloth to be the characters you actually play.
Okay, right.
And these
Then you just
these
interact.
classic characters are just sort of interspersed throughout the world,
Got
and you
it.
kind of run into them
And
periodically.
then, is it a Final Fantasy game? Is it role playing? Like, are you
Yes.
going on an adventure? Is it an action game?
Is it an
It's-
MMO?
no, it is.
Is
It
it
is
active
it is-
time
it is
battle? What
menu-
kind-
yes, they use the term
Okay.
active time battle.
All
It is-
right.
It is menu-driven combat. Although by default, they just maps actions to the face buttons. You actually have to opt into a more classic menu, and they even like pick your own targets for you.
Okay.
Or they pick the target for you when you're using that easy face button
Yeah,
mode.
yeah.
Like the combat is there, but you have to kind of drill down and enable the classic stuff. But it's Pokemon. It's
What?
I feel like I got duped.
What?
Do you have to catch them all? And you're
Kinda.
catching red mages?
Kinda. It's creatures so far. It's not like characters.
Do you
they
feed
f-
creatures to other creatures?
Kind of.
Do the
Well,
creatures
they
fight
evolve.
for you?
Are you breeding
They
the
evolve.
chocobos?
Yes,
You mate
yes.
them.
You catch them in basically a Pokeball. It's called a Prismarium.
Do chocobos fight for you?
You throw a ball at creatures that you have damaged, and
Okay.
they are imprisoned in the ball.
Are they
And then you can
classic?
evolve them.
Are they classic enemies from the Final Fantasy
Uh,
franchise?
Yeah, I got a Choco Chick, which is like a baby Chocobo.
Do you have a
So kind
Cactar?
of. The Cactuar is a train conductor so far.
Cool. All right.
He takes my train ticket.
Okay. Cool.
Like, it's super self-aware. Like, the characters start out like kind of modern-day Nomura-looking design, like kind of realistic proportions.
Yeah.
They get turned into chibi versions of themselves and like are fully aware of how weird that is, and like there's all this fourth wall shit,
Huh.
which is kind of weird.
Is the writing good, or
I'm-
is it just
I'm-
weird?
I'm in Cornelia, the kingdom from Final Fantasy 1 right now.
Okay.
And it's the music from the town in Final Fantasy 1.
Like new versions
it's like
of it?
like an
Or-
orchestrated version of. It's fucking weird.
I want this
Parts
game to
of
be
this
good.
sound
Yeah.
all right.
It's okay. It's super slow to start. Like it's typical JRPG, just like
Yeah.
2 hours of story setup and like kind of a lot of slog through dialogue. But you catch these things and they evolve into different forms. But all the different creatures that you have like small, medium, and large sizes because you stack characters. Like you stack one of your 2 characters would be the base, and then you stack a creature on their head,
Okay.
and then you would stack another creature on top of its head.
Then you put a trench coat over them.
Basically,
And you
and
go buy
then
booze.
you're
Yeah.
running around with like 2 monsters balanced on your head, and like basically stacking
And
characters.
those add abilities.
Stacking characters give you all the strengths and weaknesses of all the characters in the stack, and there's weird stuff around like staggering stacks so that they can be toppled in the middle of a turn, and stuff like that. It's a weird combat system. And like you're. Like I said, you're leveling these characters or these creatures up, and you can evolve them into like bigger forms and stuff like that. Like you can swap between your normal and chibi sizes at any time. It's a fucking weird game.
Is there a
Platform is
gameplay
on.
reason that you would want to switch between them?
Yeah, because there's different stability associated with different sizes, and like
it.
the ways you can stack are influenced by what size you are. It's on PS4 and Vita.
Okay.
It's got cross save and stuff, but I need to keep going with it because I need to see more classic Final Fantasy characters before I can actually say if it's any good or not. Because that's why I showed up to it.
Yeah, sure.
Not necessarily to catch them all,
Mm-hmm.
but that stuff seems kind of neat at the same time. I don't know. I'm gonna keep going with it. but, like,
mechanically, would you say it's like fun or
Yeah, the
accessible
battles are
in the
super
way that
slow.
other Final Fantasy games
yeah,
typically
I mean,
are?
the battles
or-
are super slow. Like there are easily times where you're just sitting there for 10 seconds watching a bunch of active time battle gauges fill.
Yeah.
So like some of that
Is there
stuff could
voice
be-
acting?
Yeah, it's super voice. Like
Is it a lot of the same voice
every-
actors? Did they get the fucking asshole that did fucking Titus to come back
so
and
I
suck?
haven't met him yet, but it's totally. I don't know that it's him, but the reviews I've read said that it's all like the classic voice actors. So yes, I'm pretty sure that James Arnold Taylor is in
damn
this
it, man.
game. I'll let you know.
Gonna fucking talk to you for 20 minutes about his old man.
I'll let you know when I get there. I guess they must have come in like right under the gun on the strike, right?
Yeah, I guess
SAG
so.
after
Yeah.
strike,
Right.
Like if assuming those guys are all unionized,
Hmm.
they got all that stuff recorded before that strike started.
I'm sure that stuff got recorded ages ago, though.
Yeah, right. Anyway, that's the stuff I've been playing along with everybody else. Let's move straight into emails. You guys want to?
I love
Sure.
emails.
Heard that about you.
Mm-hmm.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Send your emails there. God, we got a lot of Nintendo Switch emails this week. Big surprise. I've collected a bunch of them here.
So they all just say, "What's your Switch stance?"
They're a little more specific than that.
Goofy.
Okay. Let's give our email writers a little bit of credit here. We pretty much touched on this one, but I'll read it anyway. James from Petaluma wrote in and said, "What do you think of the lack of the D-pad on the Switch? I've always thought Nintendos are the best in the business, and it seems a shame to lose it from the default controller." I mean, anybody got anything to add?
I think
To
it's,
that,
it depends on what types of games they put out.
Yeah.
I think when you run into cases where you start thinking about virtual console, then maybe that'll be an issue. But
Yes.
that doesn't
Then maybe you buy a
necessarily
Pro controller.
Right? Yeah, that doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
seem like a deal breaker.
Well, yeah,
to
but
me.
if it seems like stuff like that, like
I
classic
played through
games
all
are,
of Total Carnage yesterday using the face buttons of an Xbox One controller as the right stick. It
Okay.
works fine.
All right, okay. All right, that's a decent
You
endorsement.
can do it.
Because it seems like portable is where you'd want to play a lot of those classic games, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
not
that's
having
true.
not having a
Yeah.
D-pad there if they're going to sell, I don't know, Contra 3 or something.
They had better look. All right, obviously you're not going to stick discs in this thing. You're not, that type of backwards compatibility is never going to be a thing. But boy, they need to figure out a way to transfer your virtual console purchases
Yes.
upward to this platform.
Man.
Yes.
Now is the time. They're rolling out a new network that will supposedly kind of, it's going to like embody all of their account systems and put it all into one fucking bucket.
I think you're about to be very disappointed.
I mean, if they sell all that shit again, I think this will be the breaking point, and people will be like, "Nope, fuck you."
because they already did it once, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
they already have a system in place though that recognizes when you bought it, like on the Wii, and then when you go to buy it on the Wii U, it's like, you give us $1.
Oh,
You know,
is
so-
it discounted?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I never
Yeah.
bought any Wii.
No, when I got the Wii
Virtual
U
console stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
like
had
by the
tons
time
of
the
stuff.
Wii U hit, I was done with virtual console stuff because it just felt like they had fucked it up so bad along the way.
I did
is
all
it-
this stuff where it's like pay an extra $1 or $2.
Is it actually? Is it actually that
no
cheap?
way.
I did.
Like,
Is it what?
is it actually that cheap? Like literally $1?
I want to say for like NES games and stuff, it was like $1 or
That's-
something.
I mean, that sucks, but it sucks.
No, that
less.
sucks.
It sucks less than I
but
expected.
That's, no,
And
like,
actually, now that I think about it, I bought all of those again, and I had like all the big NES and Super Nintendo and 64 games on the Wii. And I think the only one I ever played on the Wii U was Super Metroid again. Maybe occasional Mario World.
and you could always
Yeah.
boot into Wii mode, and because you could do a system transfer and transfer that
Yeah,
stuff
but you have
in
to
if
go into a thing and wait for that to boot up.
I mean, no,
and-
it sucks. I'm not sitting here telling you it's like a great solution.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's whatever.
Do you think they'll relent and finally implement some kind of achievement type system on this thing?
They said
I
they
don't-
were with
I
the
don't
last
know.
one, but it
I
was
don't
the
know.
fucking stamps.
Did they actually come out and say, "Hey, we got a thing"?
When those questions were brought up before the Wii U came out, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're looking at certain system wide things that we could do some unique spin on it or whatever." And I'm pretty sure they were talking about the fucking stamps. Which fuck those things.
It would be cool to see some kind of like system level acknowledgement of what you've done in virtual console games.
Yeah, I would love that.
It'd be great if
That
they
would be
ditched Mii's forever.
Yeah.
While we're talking.
Oh yeah, I wonder if they will.
Hey,
feel like
Xbox
Mii's-
still has the avatars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you still
Those
occasion-
are less shitty looking than me. They've
They're
aged
equally
slightly
shitty
better.
looking, I think.
I think the Mii's are maybe because they're used more frequently.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Mii's are far more offensive.
played out.
The avatars on the Xbox stuff is like so shoved off to the side. It's just like I don't even give a fuck. Those
I
things
wonder-
might as well be dead.
As much. Well, actually, we'll get to this in an email. But I wonder if Mii's are too associated with like the Wii brand, and they need to get away from that thing at this point because it's kind of
It's-
poisoned.
they
Like I
should.
wonder if they jettison those things.
They should.
As
It's
part
just the word Wii with the Wario to
of,
Mario
yeah,
switch.
right. Like it's
Is that implying that the Wii is evil?
a lot of baggage.
I mean,
And then
it's
Mii's
the,
are
it's
not?
the W one.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Let's see. Glenn writes in and says, "How long do you think how long do you think before a Switch game will have us turn the tablet 90 degrees into portrait mode like on the Atari Lynx, or have a gyroscopically variably oriented game?"
Once Ikaruga comes out.
I thought Contra was cool when the levels changed from side-scrolling to forward/jump up levels. I also look forward to playing something like Sonic's Emerald bonus stage.
I think that stuff's hard to do if you have to also count on it being docked.
Oh sure, yeah.
You know,
that pretty much excludes that
I
possibility.
think
right
it would
there,
be
right?
cool. You know, if you think about Hamster making games for that platform, Hamster has put vertical shooters onto the PS4 in that Arcade Archive series.
How would you hold it though? Because it's not like those controllers will also clip onto the top and bottom of that thing, so you can't like very well play it like.
I mean, you could hold the bottom, and it would be like just like turning the controller sideways.
Yeah, but then you got then that thing probably feels incredibly heavy because you got no leverage. To hold it up.
It might be super.
Does
weird.
it have
might be
another
terrible.
kickstand that goes perpendicular to the other ones?
Looks like
There
there
you
was
go.
just the one.
Probably
Maybe,
not.
maybe the kickstand rotates.
Probably.
Yeah,
not.
like the PS logo on
You're
the
probably
two.
not going to do that.
Probably not. You're probably not.
I wonder if they would ever build a mechanic around undocking it, though.
I could see
Like, if
that.
you think about like the ideas of like you have to close your DS to stamp the thing. Like, will they ever do anything weird around?
Kojima might.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how devoted they are to this idea of the games are the same everywhere, and you can
are
play
there
it however
gyros
you
in
want.
the tablet that wouldn't be in the controller, or would there be a case of like take it out and shake it? That would probably be terrible, but you could do it.
Yeah. An Audi from Santa Ana, California wrote in and it says, "My friend asked me, quote, what's up with the new Wii?
Word.
I was about to say they're past that dumb
Trying
name,
to get that new Wii.
but before I could take in
New
the
Wii.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was about to say they're past that dumb name, but before I could take in the air to say that out loud, I thought, oh no. Please tell me I ain't crazy for thinking that Nintendo needs to market the hell out of the Switch because of their naming conventions. It will be a decade this 19th of November since the name Wii hit store shelves and revolutionized, the gaming scene by appealing to a bigger audience that didn't need to fight buttons on a controller to enjoy games with their family and friends. Yes, the gimmick is over, but Nintendo banked on that name again and confused the hell out of the everyday consumer with the Wii U. Did the name Wii hit so hard that it's going to make the ill-informed buyer snort and ask, so what's this, the new Wii?
Who cares? Like, that doesn't...
I mean, Nintendo cares if that's a problem getting the message across.
It's probably not, though. If new Wii in this context is just shorthand for the next
new
Nintendo
thing.
platform, then...
Well, that goes beyond the name of the thing.
Yeah, they'll look at it and figure out that to me just says it's someone who was young or got into gaming at the point where the Wii was the dominant thing.
Where like the Wii brand is more important than the Nintendo brand
Right.
at that
At
point.
least they think in this instance that it's a new console,
Yes.
which they didn't think with the Wii U.
Sure.
Right.
Like they don't just
Like,
think
oh,
it's
all my old games work.
Yeah, it's
Great.
like, oh, there's finally a new Wii.
Yeah, I mean, there's some bumpy stuff around that sure does matter, but at the end of the day, if all they're doing is building awareness around the notion that, hey, there's a new thing coming out in that early stage of awareness, they don't care what you call it as long as you call it something.
Sure. There's a lot of people out there who like the Wii was their first Nintendo thing, and then they probably skipped the Wii U.
Right.
Almost definitely skipped the Wii U, and then
Skipped all video games
Like
and
here-
then are
here
never
they
going to
are.
come back.
that is entirely possible.
And now they play free-to-play games on their phone. That's the new Wii.
Yep.
I saw multiple people playing the same game on my flights this weekend.
Oh yeah.
And it's like a big Tetris, but you get points for lines in any direction.
Huh.
I don't know what
This
the
is
game
on
is.
phones?
It's on phones, yeah.
Hmm.
It's like a square board, and you can put the shapes wherever, and then line it
Oh,
up.
so it's not
either
like it's
horizontal
dropping
or
one
vertical.
way. It's like
Yeah,
it's
I don't think it's dropping. I think you place them, or maybe they are dropping. Anyway, just some anecdotal,
You didn't want to seem like a creeper and stare, and
normal person. I mean, I did.
just not long enough.
Right. Into their eyes.
What are you doing? Is this that new Wii? Put it in the air.
Jim writes in from Wilmar, Minnesota. With the announcement of the Nintendo Switch, I find myself thinking about the shovelware that existed on the Nintendo Wii. I put myself firmly in the camp of pro shovelware, and I hope that there is shovelware on the Nintendo Switch as it shows the success of the platform and could potentially help fund developers in making more interesting and risky games.
Yeah.
Obviously, shovelware can create confusion for an uninformed buyer, but I think the pros outweigh the cons. So where do you come down on the topic of shovelware on the Switch?
As long as we get Box Maker on the Switch.
Is that
That's the Mario Maker clone.
right? Right. Sorry, I was thinking about Box Boy.
Everyone is, like people care about the Chinese market in a way they didn't before. So, anything's possible.
Yeah, sure.
At least on the DS, like the DSi stuff was relegated to like a very separate thing.
Yeah, that stuff was siloed off pretty well. I mean, I guess like the spirit of what he's asking here is like what if a bunch of Wii U games end up just getting ported over to this thing? Like,
I
if we're
think
just getting a bunch of ports without a whole lot of modification to this thing.
I think
like,
if this thing comes out and sells better than the Wii U, then you have a library of Wii U games that no one played.
Yeah, really good games. A lot of them.
Yeah, sure, some of them.
if it goes that way, like people that skip the Wii U pretty much will come out ahead here, right? Because they get the new thing and then get to play all the stuff
and it
they
makes
missed.
sense that they would, like you look at what they're showing in terms of like, hey, here's Splatoon, here's Mario Kart, like whether it's enhanced versions, upgraded versions, or full sequels, like they're leveraging the games of the Wii U here.
All right, this new thing comes out. Wii U's are super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
If someone picks one up, what do they buy for games?
The Wii U?
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8?
You mean assuming like all the big stuff comes out?
No, like
stuff.
you're just saying like if somebody bought a Wii U.
You're talking about going back and buying the Wii U.
Yeah.
Like when it gets cheap or something?
Yes.
Pikmin 3 is good. Mario 3D World is
Yeah,
great.
Mario 3D World is a
It's
must.
fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
Splatoon.
Splatoon definitely.
Yeah.
It's a
Still very
multiplayer
active.
game.
I can see
It kind
the
of
player
depends
base.
if people are playing it still.
Yeah.
then
It's
yes,
still
but-
active now. I mean, who knows?
Well,
It'll be
if
active
a
after.
new Splatoon comes out.
Yeah.
They've
The
got an
only
esports
Smash.
league. It's doing great, obviously.
I'm trying to think what else.
Right.
the game
Smash.
I regret not having a Wii U is Pikmin.
Yeah.
That's a good game.
Mm.
It's a good Pikmin.
Pikmin's cool. I mean, Bayonetta 2, obviously,
Yep.
if you're into that
Yup.
stuff. I'm trying to think what else was.
Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate.
Mario Maker.
Mm.
That's a good game.
The HD Zelda games, the Wind
Yeah,
Waker and
I-
Twilight
I-
Princess
I-
are great.
Oh,
Wind-
yeah.
Wind Waker HD is fabulous.
Yeah.
They changed a little bit of that.
Yeah, they made parts of it
Structurally,
better.
right?
Made it a
Like,
lot
they
better.
streamlined like the late game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was-
And just general sailing around. You get that double speed sail pretty early on.
Yeah, and it's got good touch controllers for the inventory and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Let's see. Atlee writes in and says, "What are the key details that we've yet to learn about the Nintendo Switch that you guys think will make or break the platform?"
Price.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Price and software.
That's obvious.
If those controllers are possible to use.
Like the tiny in
Yeah.
tiny mode.
but in terms of like make or break, it's price and library. I mean, that's,
I mean, that goes without saying. I'm with Jason that battery life is going to be a huge concern.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like some of the rumors coming out, like this is some of the most nebulous information out there, so I don't want to give too much credence to it. But like some of the battery life numbers floating around out there leaked from dev kits
yeah,
are harsh.
Well,
if
I mean,
that
dev
yeah
kits are
if
dev
that stuff's
kits.
accurate, and if this thing launches as 3 hours of battery life or whatever it is, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Don't we know? Do we know the processor that's in it?
It's they're saying it's like a next generation NVIDIA Tegra.
Okay, so it's not an existing one.
No,
I mean, you just do chip plus screen plus approximate size.
maybe.
You
It's hard
could-
to
you
say.
could probably
Well,
start to
if people
estimate around there,
if people don't know what the details of that chip are, they can't say like
Right,
what the
it's-
power draw
yeah,
is.
yeah, it's hard to know.
Um,
Or if there's
Sure,
like,
but-
Bluetooth connectivity
Yeah,
or something. That's
like
going
what kind of wireless radio stuff it's doing.
But
Uh,
I have a awesome solution to the battery life situation.
never leave your house.
Never leave your house.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, and everyone already
I'm with
has those big old batteries for Pokemon.
Yeah,
Go,
that's
right.
that's a question is if you could use like a third party
Oh.
battery and plug it in and get juice out of that, or maybe you'll have to buy some like authorized add-on battery pack.
Battery case.
I'm sure there's going to be, even if they use like a proprietary like AC adapter or something like that, somebody's going to make that into
Oh,
a
yeah,
USB
yeah.
that you
Yes.
can plug into an AC.
Something will come out
Yeah.
from Nintendo or somebody else. But was it the first 3DS release that had such dismal battery life that people were upset about?
I think so.
I think that was it.
That was a situation where I never ran into trouble with it because, again, like I never actually took it
Yeah,
with me
but I mean-
anywhere.
I mean, it's a
I'm
portable
not,
thing.
I'm
You
not
can't-
saying it's a real problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not a real problem,
Right.
but that's, yeah.
I mean,
It was-
even the new 3DS is pretty weak compared to the original DS
Is it?
and all of the Game Boy Advance stuff. Like the Game Boy Advance stuff, if you have one
Oh,
sitting
yeah,
in a
yeah.
drawer right now,
It
you'd
still
pull it out
has
and it's
charge,
probably
yeah.
going to work. I did that test once at Game Informer. We had a drawer filled with all the old like Game Boy Advance SP, Game Boy Advances, and PSPs and stuff like that. And it had probably been at least a year and a half since anyone had ever touched any of those. And I took them all out. All the PSPs were dead. All of the Game Boy Advances, even going back to the original non-backlit ones, turned on. Like they might be
Wow.
blinking red, but like it had been a matter of years since anyone had touched them, and they at least turned on.
That's cool.
Yeah. But then 3DS, it's a lot weaker. I feel like I'll be on the bus and pull out my 3DS to play Picross, and it'll just be blinking red. It's like, God damn it!
My
it's
biggest
sleep
problem
mode.
is forgetting to turn it off. I just leave it in sleep mode for too long, and then
I forget that sleep mode doesn't do that much to save battery.
Yeah, it
So-
only lasts a couple 3 days or something. That is a problem. Jason from Los Angeles. We got one more Switch email. We'll go
LAJ.
through here. Yep, that's the guy.
GLA.
I think this is a pretty valid concern. As a big fan of the Nintendo 3DS, the Switch has got me a bit worried. I love the 3DS because of games like Phoenix Wright, Virtue's Last Reward, Picross 3D, Box Boy, Pushmo, and so on. These are all games that are perfect for the handheld because of their focus and scope. And I don't even care about the portability of handhelds. I play all my 3DS games at home in my bed. But if Nintendo's ultimate goal with the Switch is to merge their home console and handheld, then I'm scared these smaller scope games have been typically fit for a handheld, maybe unnecessarily and unnaturally ballooned to try to fit the expectations of a console game, such as adding weird RPG elements or more gameplay mechanics to something like a Phoenix Wright.
Box Boy RPG. Think about
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I get.
Isn't it? I'll just get through the end here. Isn't it possible that the Switch is treading a dangerous line here by merging the handheld and the console? I mean, isn't that why the PSP was so maligned and the original DS was so praised? The DS had good games that fit the scope of a handheld, while the PSP had console games shoehorned onto it.
I mean, nothing would stop developers from making games of the same scope they were making for 3DS and charging $30 or $35 for it. The problem would come is if they start charging $60 for it and feel that, or $50 and feel like they have to justify that with balloon content. Right?
Yeah, if we end up having like a range of prices, I think that could work out fine for what we think of as like retail games and stuff like that. But like Box Boy was digital only. You know, that game, there's no reason why Box Boy couldn't exist on Wii U right now.
And it was like $5 or $10, right?
Yeah. So I'm not
Those
too
can
worried
exist.
about.
As
I'm
long
not
as
too worried about Box Boy, but I do see like, some of these kind of like smaller handheld focused games. Like you could see when you start to compare those with like big console games that maybe it gets weird.
Right.
But I think you can solve that by allowing for a range of prices.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the challenge of Nintendo's challenge is to keep up their developer relations and make sure that stuff, like they have formalized the Nindies thing, right? At this point.
Yeah.
I wonder if they even go so far as to, in their store, make a distinction between like big old games and on-the-go style games.
Different color cases.
Yeah.
And they've done that before. It's like, oh, all Mario cases are red.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like they don't.
I think that'd be weird.
They don't draw a distinction, right? Right now between like $5 and $10 games and the $60 stuff.
In their store or on their digital store?
Yeah, in the eShop.
Not really.
Like kind of everybody has moved away from that. Like,
I mean, they'll have like different cuts of the store that'll be like under $10 sale prices, small. You know, like they'll have their ways of phrasing that stuff.
Games are kind of just games these days in terms of storefronts. Yeah. It's kind of down to the way that it's filtered.
Yeah. Even the Sony and Microsoft stores are the same way.
Yeah. All right. That's it for Switch emails. But Connor from Apple Valley wrote in with a Nintendo thing that we have to read. A few weeks ago, Shigeru Miyamoto turned a new leaf in the tome of Mario lore when he revealed that the portly plumber was only 24 years old.
What?
I've always imagined Mario as a 40-something grown man riding around on T. Yoshisaur Munchakoopas, so naturally I found this revelation shocking. I don't think you guys have covered this during a news segment yet, so my question is simple. What's your immediate impression of this news? Has Miyamoto gone too far, or do you find it totally plausible that Mario could be a sixth-year college senior at Toad State U?
He's lying.
He is not 24.
He's lying.
I'm with you. I can't.
Maybe in the original Mario Bros. Maybe.
He hasn't.
Or,
the
Jumpman days. Yeah.
That's where he got his internship.
But back then they were so much. It was so much harder to see details. Maybe
I'd say
he was more
you
youthful
could look
than
at,
we
like,
imagined.
Donkey Kong, Mario.
Donkey Kong Mario is 47 years old.
Mario Brothers Mario, like if anything, they look pudgier and fucking more done with the world than Mario does now.
No man under the age of 45 has a mustache of that volume and luster,
Yeah.
I'm going to say.
Donkey Kong Jumpman is 47 years old.
I don't have it in front of me, but he linked to where this information came from. Like it happened.
I always assumed that like the casting of Bob Hoskins was.
Oh
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Sure.
Mario is a middle-aged man.
I am partial to the Captain Lou Albano portrayal.
Oh, yes, of course.
I believe that's the canonical live-action Mario.
I guess they've never shown him at any other age outside of Baby Mario.
Right.
It's just been Baby Mario or Mario-ass Mario.
And then Luigi is his younger brother.
Yes. He's more spry. He's got a bigger jump.
All right.
Yeah.
How old was Bob? I'm going to check.
Uh-oh.
He's dead, right?
And no, don't say it. No, I'm just sad.
Why?
Fucking Bob Hoskins was
He's not 24.
too good for this world.
Yeah.
He's not 24.
While you're looking that up,
Yeah,
Drew,
24
chat, let me
seems-
know that the game is called 1010.
1010.
1010 with an exclamation point.
Okay.
1010.
I'm trying to think of who in that universe could be 24. Like Daisy, maybe?
Maybe. Well, that just gets creepy then, right?
Well, I guess if Luigi is super old, yeah. I'd say Peach is 30.
Okay.
He was 50.
Daisy could be 24.
Is 50?
Yeah.
Wow, really?
I could see Mario being 50. Luigi at 44.
I don't know. That sounds like it's maybe getting up there a little bit. Mid 40 sounds about right to
Bowser's
me.
like 350. He's like tortoise.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yoshi's like 6. Waluigi's upper 30s. I'd say Wario is mid 40s.
Yeah. Waluigi's like
He can
30s
move.
still.
He can move.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did Boo die?
Ooh, that's a good question. Who was Boo?
Yeah.
Who was Boo in life?
Who was King Boo? How did he become king?
Huh. Yeah, was he a king that died, or did he become king of the ghosts?
Maybe Bowser killed him
Oh, man.
Same questions about Dry Bones.
Oh, man.
and then took over his.
Is King Boo Princess Peach's father?
Oh, shit.
Oh wow!
Wow. Holy shit. He was the Mushroom King?
Yeah.
Oh.
Shit. We have to move on. These are dangerous
There's
questions.
Boo Mario who has a ghost mustache.
When did that mustache die?
Who was that mustache?
The mustache is eternal. It's immortal. One more Nintendo question.
If
just 'cause
there are
they-
dry bones,
we're
is there
coming
dry
in.
everything?
Is Stanley
Who's
from
Dry
Donkey
Bowser?
Kong 3 Boo? Haven't seen Stanley in a
That's
long time.
true. Not even in like a cameo, like, oh, he's in the crowd in
It's
that
like
tennis
a
match.
trophy in
Because he's
fucking
dead.
Smash Brothers or something. That
Yeah.
doesn't count. He's been dead. Donkey Kong killed him.
Fucking murderous ape.
Spray didn't work.
Yeah, no, the spray worked too well, and he inhaled too much of
Oh,
it.
okay.
And
All right. Just because there were a lot of Nintendo questions coming in, I'll read one more from Brendan. Nintendo revealed their purple lunchbox at E3 2001. What were your first thoughts when you laid eyes on that iconic handle protruding out the GameCube's backside?
I'm gonna take that
Seriously?
everywhere.
Yes. Seriously, why does it have a handle? Has Nintendo ever commented on their decision to?
I mean, we've probably all used that handle at some point,
guess
right? We've had
so.
to
Well,
move consoles around a bunch.
Yeah, but we are in a weird position of having to move consoles a lot.
But I mean,
Most people put it in their shelf and then never touch it again.
I mean, back then people would people my age when that came out would bring consoles to each other's houses.
Or,
That was
you
a
know,
thing.
yeah,
I was in college when the
gonna
GameCube
say,
was
you
a
think
thing.
That
and
handle was made for the dorm room.
yeah, and Double Dash and Smash
With-
Brothers
with
Melee, of course. Yeah,
Four ports on that thing. They were just
Yeah.
expecting it to move around dorms a lot.
and we did. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think it was suggested in the manual that you're not supposed to use that.
I was going to say, was it really sturdy enough to?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Felt-
Yeah.
That thing's a fucking tank. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's great.
So what was it supposed to like protect the ports in the back?
Yeah. If they're telling
Run
you
the
that,
I'm sure
cables
they're just
through it
covering their
to-
ass.
yeah.
You know,
I think 64 was the sturdiest Nintendo console. Like
64?
I've run into Super Nintendos and NESs and GameCubes that haven't worked, but every fucking
that thing-
64
yeah.
I've ever gone to
that
turn
thing
on
is really
totally
sturdy.
works. Yeah.
That thing's really solidly built. Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, the DS always had hinges and stuff that could break, but the 64 is a tank. And the controllers. Occasionally we'll get the analog stick that's kind of just loose, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
John writes in from Morgantown, West Virginia, about day one patches and the size of games. With Comcast having recently rolled out data caps nationwide on all of its cable internet, 1 terabyte monthly at the moment, several games are also starting to get absurdly large. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, for example, clocks in at an astonishing 130 gigabytes.
That's so
and-
that size that's on the back of the box, and it sounds like that's not their day one size. That is just kind of like I think they're saying that's like DLC.
Is that
and
lifetime
some other-
size?
Yeah.
Does that maybe also include Modern Warfare Remastered?
probably,
Oh,
which is
wow.
a big
Okay.
fucking game.
Even still, I mean, that's
for,
all
for a game that
even still, that's stuff you're paying for. Like that's if you
Totally,
want to
yeah.
have everything that you paid for in that package, 130 gig. Gears of War 4 is also coming in at 80 gigs,
Yep.
along with any patches that come through for that. Making the trend towards, he refers to them as unoptimized games or patches. I don't know that I want to go
We
that
don't-
far
we don't
because we
know.
can't say that. But he concludes by saying, "I'm curious what you
But
think."
also, there was a Doom patch that was like 11 gigs
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
I think that was a new DLC rollout, so maybe that actually was new shit. But
When a patch is that big, does it replace? Is
In
it possible
some
to
cases.
replace?
So that's called a delta update, basically, when
Okay.
files are like the net install size doesn't really change.
Right, 'cause if we're talking
the
about,
old
like,
stuff is
just
replaced,
updating a mega text or whatever.
right? Or if
it's a matter
It's
of,
not
like,
going to add 11 gigs.
It's a matter
to
of
your
how they
size.
patch. Like in some
Right.
cases, it'll be like you have to re-download the entire file,
so-
or are you just downloading the diffs between one version of the file and the other, and then it applies the patch.
So
Right.
yeah, like when it's handled well, yes, like the install size, if it's just like game code and stuff changing, should be about
But
the
in
same.
this context, it's still 11 gigs
I
you're
mean,
downloading.
Yeah, well, that was, I believe, like maps for the second.
yeah, that might have been their
That was the
second
second
DLC.
map pack for the season pass and
Right,
stuff.
but we're talking about bandwidth here.
But there, well, yeah, that's true. But there are absolutely cases on, like, I've seen some indie games on the PS4 where, like, we'll get it ahead of release and it'll be like a 4 gig game, and then the day one patch will hit and it's another 4 gig.
Yeah.
And then you go look at the install size in the system menu and it's now 8 gig because they have pushed the entire original build of the game, and then because of the way their patch worked, they pushed the entire build again with the patch included. So in some cases, that stuff gets incredibly inefficient.
Yeah.
But he's talking more about download sizes or download stuff than storage here. It sucks. That cap stuff
mean,
is.
you
I can't believe it actually, because they said for so long, Comcast in particular, that they weren't actually enforcing any of that stuff, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like, here you go. Here's your welcome to your metered internet.
This
future.
seems like something that the government will have to step in
Yeah,
on. It's because at some point restrictive bandwidth caps actually around the world, whatever. But at some point they just restrict people from using the internet services they're paying for, and that seems like a weird change to make right now.
It starts becoming anti-competitive when,
Yeah.
especially when Comcast is saying, like, hey, if you use these services that we own and sell to you, they don't count against your data cap.
Right.
But Netflix sure does.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. But yeah, like that's rough when like Call of Duty is over 1/10 of your monthly bandwidth allotment.
Right.
Just to download it. It's not a good state of affairs. I don't know what else to say other than
Like I have Comcast, but I've never once checked the email address that they assigned to it.
Yeah.
So I'm assumed that if I go look at it, which I'm deliberately not doing at this point, that there's gonna be something sitting there saying like, "Hey, you're way over this terabyte." Or
I don't know. I mean, anecdotally, it seems pretty hard to hit a terabyte.
Watch me.
Yeah.
But video streaming for sure is gonna start pushing that stuff up more and more. I think Comcast's standard is like you get 2 free months of going over, and then they start charging you with a third infraction.
Infraction.
Yeah,
That's a great
whatever.
way of putting it.
Yep, that's a bummer.
If anything, hopefully this will kind of spur other services to compete in more areas that Comcast is in to
would be
offer
nice.
alternatives. And,
Yeah,
and
but
that
the
sort of stuff.
infrastructure makes that so difficult in a country of this size.
Come on, Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic is, I can vouch, pretty good. James writes in, Dan, I will buy your PS4. Contact me back. We can set something up.
Stop it.
I think I already got a buyer.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
randomly.
This is a Twitter thing.
Okay,
I'm talking to a guy.
somebody beat James to the punch.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying?
but hey, if he falls through, yeah,
Okay,
I'm not gonna mail the damn thing.
what if he makes you a better offer?
I mean, yeah, that's how that works.
Gonna get into a bidding war over Dan's PS4.
Sure.
It doesn't say-
it will be cleared off. It will be factory reset,
And then forget it. I'm out.
and also it beeps randomly.
Oh right.
Which I have to full
Oh, that
disclosure. I
sucks.
told the guy on Twitter, it's like, hey, it's gonna beep every once in a while, and he's like, look up some guides, it'll be fine.
Are you gonna leave the big hard drive in it?
No, I'm
gonna
gonna.
take
It'll
that
be
out.
as
Back
it
to-
was. I've got the original box, all that
Back to
stuff,
stock.
so- Yep.
All right. Well, James doesn't say where you live, so
Can we start selling stuff on the podcast? I've got a bunch of arcade sticks.
Yeah, all right.
Get rid of $100 a pop.
Someone want a
You guys-
missile command machine that that mostly works?
I've got an old cable modem that I don't need anymore.
Anyone looking for like bricks of really pure cocaine?
I am.
Contact me
Let's
via
talk.
this podcast. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's make some money.
Yo, hit me up. We'll talk.
Flipping birds on the internet. Let's go.
Luke writes in from the UK.
Yuck.
This weekend, I was in a game store. That's game with a big G.
Yeah.
Or big everything.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
caps.
Game, the franchise, the retailer.
The rapper.
Yes, also him. And they had a PlayStation VR unit there that I thought I would have a go at, but they were charging £5
What?
or $6 for 10 minutes, or £15, which is $18 for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought this was a bit of a rip off rather. But what's your opinion on this?
So they've tried to justify this by saying this is paying for additional staff to staff the VR kiosk.
I don't know about that.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
That's a stretch. That's pretty thin.
Fuck that shit.
If I was Sony,
If I was Sony, I would
pretty
be
upset
like,
with that.
absolutely no, you
Yeah.
are not allowed to fucking do this.
Yeah, I wonder
Like,
if they
fuck
will do
you.
that.
Yeah.
What's worse, this or the Craigslist ads that we saw of people like locally, like, "Hey, come play my
guy at
Vive." You know,
Craigslist is
$10
just
an
American
hour.
small business.
That guy was just
true.
an enterprising entrepreneur.
Right.
No, that guy's also an asshole.
In a lot of ways, that guy is more upfront with what he's doing because he's not at
Yes.
the end of it trying to sell you
That's
the thing.
that's
that-
the
I guess,
thing.
yeah.
That's the thing. It's like if you're trying to sell people this product,
right.
then let them
Yeah,
try it.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's selling
That's-
just the time. Like,
Yeah.
hey, here's what you're
Yeah,
getting.
it's real shitty.
The only way I could ever no. Now I was gonna say like you would hope that at least if you like, let's say you go in there and you pay for their fucking outrageous demo price. If at the end of that you go, I would like to buy one of these. If they subtract the full cost of your demo time, then at least they could stand on that leg a little bit and be slightly less shitty, but still actually pretty shitty. Yeah, man, fuck that. That's awful. That's awful. Open up a separate business for that if you want to do like location-based VR setups.
Yeah, just
Like
make it a fucking like BattleTech center.
totally sell smart drinks,
or
ginkgo
make-
biloba for
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, make it laser tag.
Oxygen
Just
bar?
Make it a thing.
Yeah, full on oxygen
Although-
bar. Let's go.
You'd have to like deal with the maker of the headset to do that, right?
Public exhibition of a thing.
Yeah, you probably have to
would.
cut them in
Yeah.
on it to even do that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, otherwise it's like buying a pay-per-view and
Right.
charging
Yeah.
people. Like you have
Yeah.
to set up a deal with UFC or whatever if you want to be a bar that does that.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
There's
if I want
plenty
to
of
have people
game
over to my
bars out
house and
there
say,
that-
you got to give me $20 to step in my house
Eh,
or bring pizza.
there you go.
But yeah, there's plenty of game bars out there where you can just like rent console time.
Right.
I don't see that.
I feel
The
like that's
difference, I
something
guess.
that is actually still on shaky legal ground, though.
or but
Like
we don't
something about the doing it in the building
Right.
thing, like game rental, rent it, take it home, all that other stuff. I think that was supposed to be. I think that is in a slightly different category
context
than on-site
like
stuff.
public exhibitions.
No one
and
ever,
stuff.
no one ever does. I mean, you know, but I don't know that that is technically legal as a lawyer.
I don't know.
You're just saying you
So
are.
I'm
a
saying
lawyer.
stop having people in your garage and charging them to play Super Nintendo
Hit
games.
me up on Twitter if you want to come over and $100 an hour.
Marcus.
Can I get in on that? That's a good point.
I'll get you a discount.
All right, okay.
You guys make your business deals on your own time. Marcus writes in, without checking, how many of you remember the name of Volition's new game?
Agents of Mayhem.
There you go. That's the one.
Yeah.
Not me.
Have not heard much about that game since E3.
Yeah.
Hope to hear more, I think.
Summoner 3.
That's the one.
Yep.
We played a bit of we played that at E3. It seemed okay.
Yeah, it was very early.
Very early.
I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Iam from India writes in and says, with Red Dead Redemption 2 officially confirmed by Rockstar to release in fall 2017 and with no PC version announced, do you guys think Microsoft will use this opportunity to promote the Scorpio version of the game as the superior and definitive 4K version, as the Pro can't run games in native 4K? Do you guys think this will give Microsoft a marketing advantage over Sony?
I think it depends on where Rockstar chooses to go for their co-marketing dollars.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I thought I saw that there was something from a Sony Twitter account that got deleted, implying that they were.
There was like some exclusive online stuff.
Yes.
But
Yeah, at that point, I have to imagine install base matters way more than
right.
like resolution capabilities and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think they market the Scorpio stuff on the back of like another round of first-party games for that holiday season.
You're probably
Like,
right.
It's not about.
But what though? Like, they can't have an. I don't.
I
think
was
they
about
could-
to say Halo, but
I was
I
gonna
guess
say like Halo. It won't be.
It'll
probably
be
way
a
too
Forza
soon.
Motorsport 7.
Yeah,
at that
there'll be a
point.
Forza, but like yours just came out. Like Halo is still probably too soon.
Halo Wars?
That's out this year.
Oh, that's this year?
That's out this holiday, isn't it?
No,
Halo Wars
No,
2?
Halo Wars
Is
is
it
next
not?
year.
No.
No, Halo Wars is definitely not out this year.
Okay. Oh, Crackdown 3.
Yeah, I was gonna
There
say
we go.
Crackdown is one.
Cloud Destruction.
I don't know. Somebody's playing some loud music here.
Calliope music playing.
I can't think of. They don't have like their heavy hitters have kind of all just come out more or less. So I don't know what the Scorpio launch looks like software wise.
Yeah.
Maybe they do go out and make a bunch of Rise of the Tomb Raider style deals, or at
Voodoo
least-
Vince
Yeah, there you go.
remastered.
Yeah,
That's out early next year, though. That's already-
Remastered.
Yeah.
Dave writes in talking about our discussion of prequels and how they don't work last week. While many people are quick to say it's the worst of the trilogy, I think Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is a pretty successful prequel. I don't think most people even recognize it as a prequel since it doesn't go out of its way to acknowledge itself as such.
Also, when was the last time you watched Temple of Doom? Because I watched all 4 Indiana Jones movies this year, like within a month of each other. And Temple of Doom, I always defended that movie, saying like, "Oh yeah, it's not the best one, but it's still a really good movie."
Yeah.
Watching it again now, it has not aged nearly as well as I thought it would.
when it came out.
Capshaw's terrible in it. Like all the action scenes are pretty rough. There's some fun stuff,
Is
but
it just objectively not a great movie, you're saying?
it's better than Crystal Skull.
I don't know that I knew that it was a prequel, but also I don't care about that movie. I thought it was just a lame movie.
They've said it's set 1 year before Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, they don't make that clear at all.
Yeah.
And also, who cares? I mean, all the indie movies are basically standalone adventures.
Yeah, I guess that's sure.
There's a lot of stuff that stands out to me, like more so in that one than like
There's
most
stuff
other
that you
movies.
remember for sure.
Yeah.
And I still remember, the heart stuff and the minecart race.
The monkey brains. And,
the monkey brains. There's memorable stuff in that
Sure.
movie. But when was the last time you watched it?
Maybe 5-10 years ago. I don't
That's
know.
probably where I was at before I came back in, and it's not good.
It was always third for me.
It was for
in
me
third
too, but
place.
it wasn't like a distant third. After watching them all, it's definitely like of the first 3, pretty distant.
All right. Let's do a couple more.
That
emails
opening
here.
is still pretty good though, with the diamond and the antidote. That's pretty good.
I just think I like the first one at this point, and the rest
Last
of them.
Crusade's
I just
really
don't-
good.
Yeah, it's fine. I just don't know. I just don't know that I care about it.
Yeah.
Chris from Wyoming writes in and says, "You're walking down the street when you spot the box to some vintage Air Jordans. Upon opening the box, a djinn flies out and offers to let you live inside the world of any rap video. What video do you let become your life?"
Gravel pit.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's the Wu-Tang Clan fighting dinosaurs.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It'd be that Fushnickens video where they're flying around in the Chinese food box.
Okay. That also sounds
Was this while Shaq was in the roster there?
Shaq Fu may have been. That was for. I think that was the video for "Ring the Alarm."
Okay.
I don't remember.
Can't remember if that was on the cassette that I had.
sort of way more interesting suggestions than mine. The first thing that came to my head was the Nothing But the G Thing video.
Sure.
That seems like
Yeah.
a good time.
They had that
seems
fridge
like-
filled with 40s.
Yeah. No, that's.
And those cool cars.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I could hang out there.
Hypnotize?
You're probably right.
Just
I
boats.
wasn't gonna say it, but you're probably right. You guys good? Got any suggestions?
I mean, there are a lot of cool rap
the
videos.
Tribe Called Quest scenario video, because it's all just video editing. Like that whole video is just like fake interface video editing tools and weird shit. It's like
Really?
looks like a goddamn Sega CD game.
Huh.
I mean, any number of Beastie Boys videos.
Let's see.
That's like just wrapping into a spinning hubcap forever.
I'm not sure what prompted this email. It came from Anonymous. I don't think we were talking about auto insurance, but anyway. I worked for Autofield Dispatch at a major insurance carrier, which is basically all the logistics behind getting an appraiser to look at your car when it's been in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Since the office I work in manages the California region, we are often told about, quote, high-profile clients that need to be seen as soon as possible. My coworker was asking if anybody knew who Keith David was, and of course, I was all over it. Turns out somebody hit his car while it was parked and unoccupied
Who would do that?
and didn't leave a note. Shit!
if they had known it was fucking Keith David's car,
Seriously.
they would have left it.
Show some respect. I'm mostly writing to tell you that Mr. David unfortunately does not drive a Warthog, but a 2016 Ford Flex.
Cool.
So,
No, that's a reasonable automobile.
yeah, that works. Gets you where you're going.
Doesn't need to be flashy. He's Keith David.
Yeah,
President.
He's more important than the car.
it's true. That is absolutely true.
Some people need a flashy car so you know who it is. When Keith David steps out of anything, you go, oh, fucking fuck.
He commands respect, regardless of what he's driving. Shifty writes in from Kansas City. Why can Mario breathe underwater, but Sonic cannot?
Sonic sucks.
Okay. All right. Short and to the point.
Next question.
Let's see.
I mean, if he gets the bubbles, he can breathe.
If you got the bubbles, you could breathe.
How would that work if I was underwater?
That's not breathing underwater. That's breathing air.
Yeah.
But okay, let's say I'm
Wait,
underwater.
also wait, when could Mario breathe underwater? Well, I guess the
Hey,
early
he just
games.
swims and
I was
doesn't
gonna
have to, like,
I was
there's no
gonna say,
limit.
wait,
Maybe
as of,
he's
as
like-
of Mario 64, he could not, right?
That's true. In Mario 64, you have to surface
We
to
don't
get
even know
health.
what liquid that is in the Mushroom Kingdom. What
Yeah,
passes for
it could be
water
like that
there
stuff in
could-
the abyss.
Exactly.
What if Mario has hidden gills?
Like the Mariner.
Also possible.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if I was
I
underwater,
stick with my original answer.
if you're underwater and there's a giant bubble of air under there,
Mm-hmm.
how would you actually suck in the air from there? You can't just put your head in there. It would
Sure you
all,
can.
Wouldn't it pop the bubble and all the water would come in?
It's not. That
That's
kind
how
of bubble.
bubbles work.
It's not kind of. It's not that kind of bubble.
Oh, jeez.
If you
A
took-
bubble-
if you went
the kind of
underwater and
soap
there was an air bubble and
the
you
s-
took a needle
The
to
type
it,
of soap bubble you're talking about is air inside and outside.
so if you
That's
took a needle
totally
or a
different.
lance or something
Completely
to a
different.
big underwater bubble, it
It
doesn't
might
fill up
split
with
it
water.
into multiple bubbles.
There's
Okay.
not-
Yeah, because there's
Okay.
already water pushing into it, and the air bubble is air pushing out against the water. So it's already reached that equilibrium.
Okay, I believe this.
Staffen writes in and has a question. Is it disgusting to eat a whole whole bag? Try this again. Is it disgusting?
The answer is no.
He made a typo. It threw me off.
Oh, I see.
Is it disgusting to eat a whole 20-ounce bag of grated cheese at once?
No.
I was watching a movie with a few friends, and we all brought our snacks. Having nothing at home and being lazy, I brought my bag of grated cheese.
Nice.
So anyway, is that disgusting, or are my friends overreacting?
I have done that on numerous occasions. I have also
That
probably
doesn't
on
mean it's not disgusting.
probably on dozens
If
of
anything,
occasions.
I have to vote for it being...
Yeah.
Probably
I'm
not
less certain about this than I was a second ago.
not recently, but probably between the ages of like 8 and 12. I probably went through several dozen just cans of easy cheese, not putting it on anything.
That's
Just
not
the
I
sharp
feel like,
cheddar and
I feel
bacon,
like
just
that's more
eating it.
common than
That's-
eating cheese
and
out
that's
of a
way
bag.
worse. Eating the cheese out of the bag, I think, is going to be better long term.
I mean, they're both
and
great.
Short term.
They are both fantastic ways to eat a meal.
Trying to visualize how big a 20-ounce bag of
And you're not
shredded
putting that
cheese
on
would be.
anything. You're just squeezing that into your
I mean,
mouth.
ideally, if I had a thing of Ritz or something.
I'm not talking about ideally. I'm talking
Right.
about what did you do?
These dozens of times, I am talking about sitting down and like watching Ren and Stimpy with a brand new like sharp cheddar and bacon easy cheese and just the whole damn thing on dozens of
I couldn't do
occasions.
that. I
Pretty
would
good
throw
easy
up.
cheese.
I could not do that.
I could
definitely
totally
cannot
do
do
that.
I used to.
shouldn't do that.
In 6th grade, we could bring snacks to class, and at like 10:30 every day, we could just. It was snack time, so
Yeah.
whatever fruit snacks you got, or little pretzels and dips or whatever. And all the kids thought I was insane when I had just like I would just bring the can, and I would just like go through that can for my 10:30 snack.
Did teacher ever see you doing that?
I think so. I think Mr. Brooks saw me do that. Yeah.
Did Mr. Brooks ever go like fucking
That's
to your
our
parents
Dan.
or anything and just be like, "Did you know he's bringing a fucking can of spray cheese
I'm
to
guessing-
school?"
I mean,
I'm
kids
guessing
gave me
Mr.
shit at recess, but that's about
I'm
it.
guessing Mr. Brooks had given up by that point.
Okay, all
He
right.
liked me.
He
Mr.
knew.
Brooks was great.
He knew.
Yeah, kids would give me shit, but Mr. Brooks was fine.
All right.
He's a cool teacher.
He was really cool. He taught us all the Macarena. Like a
Right.
year,
No,
like
yeah.
this was like 6 months before the Macarena hit stateside.
Oh, wow. He was
So
ahead
he
of
went
the-
on some
okay.
vacation to some island,
Okay.
and he came back and got all of the 6th grades together in the common area, and he was very serious about this.
You
He's like,
say he was patient zero for
think
fucking,
so.
the fucking Macarena?
Yeah.
He brought it back from a foreign country?
To Kansas.
yeah, he told everyone like, hey, okay, you're gonna see what I'm talking about, and you know when this gets big over here because it is massive on all these islands or all these vacation destinations. So I'm gonna teach you all the Macarena, and then when the Macarena gets huge here, you can be like, hey, I know it all right now. And so we all had to do the Macarena in the commons area in 6th grade.
I felt the same way the first time I saw a music video by Tattoo.
Okay,
And I had to tell everyone. It's like, no, trust me. This is going to be the fucking biggest shit ever. And it was. For that summer.
It was running through your head.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say this is the last email from Kevin. The hardest hitting question of 2016, macaroni salad or potato salad?
I've never had either.
What?
I don't really, I'm not a,
What the fuck?
I guess I would say macaroni salad, but
Oh, man.
like they put, I don't like onions. And a lot of times macaroni salad will have onions
that's-
in it, and
that's
I'm
not-
not a big fan.
I might go with potato.
I think I have to go. There's so many more ways that I've seen potato salad prepared.
I still haven't had a
So
baked
many-
potato.
Dude, you're out of your mind.
I want to. Like, if somebody could like
good.
bring me a great baked potato, I would eat it right now.
Get a potato and bake
It's
it.
not hard to bake a potato.
First of all, I don't know how to. Second of all, I just have not ever been in a situation where it's like, hey, do you want this baked potato?
You can, the internet is full of like
I-
all
dude,
kinds of ways.
I
to,
didn't
like,
look it up.
There are
Would
videos.
love the things you could do to a baked potato.
I
Yeah,
don't
like
doubt
the stuff
this.
that
I
people
don't
put
doubt
on
this.
baked potatoes is right up your alley.
Yeah.
You could spray that whole fucking can onto that potato.
I have no excuse for this. My fiance would make me a baked potato tonight if I asked her to. In fact, hey, I don't know if I have dinner plans tonight.
I just Googled how to bake a potato.
I mean,
It's not difficult.
baking always means oven,
The
right?
first step
Yes,
typically,
is
yeah.
bake
Frying
the
is
potatoes.
Frying is the pan.
Mhm.
Yes.
You don't
with
have to
oil.
have oil.
No,
You do? Frying is
pretty
always
much-
oil?
You pretty much need oil of some kind to fry.
Baking is in the oven.
Yes.
Sautéing also uses pans?
Yeah, more or less.
What is broiling?
broiling is like heating from above with like a direct heat source.
You have to have like a heat lamp or something? Or?
Most ovens.
Is it okay? So that's the thing that you can turn on in the oven to make like the top of your pizza
you're
kind of crispy.
like crisping something by
Okay.
broiling it. Typically,
I've always been confused about the different like verbs for making food, but I know baking is the thing I can do. I have baked many things.
bake a potato, and then put a whole lot of horrible things on it.
I mean, I was never a big baked potato fan.
I'll try to eat at least one baked potato before the Bombcast next
I
week.
mean, you can make a baked potato that's really bad for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most people will slather it's like butter,
First butter.
bacon bits, and cheese,
Oh.
and sour cream.
Yeah.
and just
Okay.
like
Chives.
chives.
I
That's
like
kind of-
pretty much all
when
these things.
Wendy's was serving baked potatoes, they came like 3 ways, and one of them was sour cream and chives.
Sometimes people will put chili on a baked potato.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
I can put a bunch of cheese
you
on it.
could
Can you
put
do
a full
like
bag of
garlicky
shredded
stuff?
cheese if you wanted to.
20 ounce.
Typical American baked
Garlic
potato,
potato, sure, why not?
preparation, I bet, is like fucking 1,500 calories or something.
Oh,
It's-
so that's
it's
a meal.
Real bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a side, but
Huh.
It's intense.
Okay. I mean, I love potatoes. Potatoes are incredible. I love
Potatoes
French
are good.
fries and mashed potatoes. I think those are the only two potato.
Yeah.
I've had hash browns.
I will say that a plain baked potato is maybe a little bland. So
How about a scallop?
you're probably going to
potato?
want to dress it up.
I don't know what that is.
Ooh,
A scallop?
scallop-
I thought scallops were like
scallops.
mussels.
I've never quite been sure what
potato.
that is exactly.
Aren't they like
slice
clams?
them real thin so that they're discs, and then you put those discs and a bunch of cheese in a casserole
Yeah.
tin and
Oh,
bake
dude,
that
yeah.
up.
Oh,
All right.
scallop.
Yeah.
I heard a bunch of cheese.
Oh
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I got to give it up for some mac salad once in a while, but I think I have to go with potato.
Neither for me.
No?
I'm out.
Oh, man.
yeah, that's actually if that's an option, I would probably go with that as well.
Never go to Hawaii. Just nothing but macaroni salad as far as the eye can see.
They got
Boy.
pigs on
Toy.
spits and stuff, man.
It's true.
They got plenty of other food that I could get into.
I ate all that fucking
Yeah.
Hawaiians know how to eat.
I
man.
bought a can of Pringles in Hawaii, so
Shave ice.
Oh yeah,
Pineapple on pizza.
I could live on that. You
You
guys
can
down
get-
with
you can
the
get pine-
pineapple on
absolutely.
pizza?
It's fine.
100%.
Eh,
Like I'll have a slice here and
I
there.
love
I understand why people like it, but
I love it.
I always end up picking the pineapple off and eating it first just to get it out
Yeah.
of the way.
It's weird, like hot
I
pineapple.
might
is
do
weird.
that because I love pineapple.
I mean,
Pineapple's great.
good.
It's the best fruit.
Yeah,
I had a
best fruit.
pineapple cider this weekend. It was great.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Ace brand?
That sounds pretty
No.
good.
I
I'll
don't know
mix
what it
pineapple
was.
juice and vodka or something.
Yeah.
Sort of the same thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good stuff.
A ton of people have been tweeting to me that some pizza chain is doing grilled cheese crust now. Do you know what this is?
Nope.
Okay, maybe it's
Yeah.
not here
Work.
because I think they said it was Domino's. So I went to go order Domino's over the weekend, and they didn't have it anywhere. So I don't know if we have grilled cheese crust
Is
here.
it just pizza dough?
I
Or
don't
is it
really
actual
know.
bread?
I just want it, whatever it is. I don't know how they
If
make
it's
it.
just pizza dough, wouldn't that just be a stuffed crust, which is like old as hell?
Right.
Or
I feel like if,
if it's like sandwich style,
are
it's
they-
not like a tube of cheese.
are they like embedding actual bread into the edges of the pizza to make a grilled
Oh.
cheese? That's fucking weird.
Do you ever have the thing that the gimmick Pizza Hut did, where it was like the little fingers of crust? Like the crust was like these segmented, like
I
little
never
like
had that. I
mini
saw pictures
corn
of
dog
it. It
looking
just didn't
things.
make sense.
I got a few of those.
Hot dogs in the.
like little mini
Ooh.
corn dog breading, and like all the stuffed crust stuff was in each one. So it's supposed to be like, oh, each one's a little pocket of cheese.
No, because I want a handle for the pizza.
Yeah, yeah. And also, that's just more cheese and less breading if it's just going down a whole tube around the rim.
I thought the stuffed crust was all right. It's not.
I
it's
love
not
stuffed crust-
the
stuffed crust is
where the just tube of cheese going all the way
Yeah,
around.
that's the
Like,
best part of the pizza.
It's all right, but I like crust. So
Good crust can stand on its own, but a lot of crust is not good.
Word.
Bad crust is really bad.
I still don't trust people that don't eat pizza crust, regardless of quality. If there's people just setting all their crust aside,
Yeah,
okay, here's why I do
people
that.
that refuse to eat
because
the crust
because
as a
you're
rule,
a garbage person.
No,
It's
no,
terrible. That's terrible.
I like crust. I like a plain crust is fine. But let's say in front of me, I've got a personal sized pizza that I could probably eat the whole thing in one sitting.
What do you mean probably?
Okay, that I can eat in one sitting. Let's say though, there is the risk that you can get full at some point. I want those early bites while I am confirmed hungry to be my favorite tasting parts. So I'm going to get through all the cheesy, saucy stuff that I like the most first, and then if I have room afterwards, I will eat the crust that I still like, but not as much as the
In
standard
the event
pizza.
that
Sounds
I'm
like
not
some food
finishing
science.
a pizza, I'm putting it away and eating it later.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't.
of course.
I wouldn't want to do that
Well,
because
but if
later
you're
you would want the full.
if you fill up on some crust, you'll still have some pizza later.
I don't fill up.
Oh, that is a
Also-
problem.
Not
Yeah.
when it comes to a pizza. I'm there to fucking do the work. I'm there to put in the fucking time.
I think my goal is always to finish that pizza.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we wanted to get real scientific about it, you would eat the crust first while you are hungry, and then you would allow the deliciousness of the rest of it to propel
Carry
you
you
through
through.
to
No,
the end.
being full is blind, though. If you're full, it doesn't matter if it's the most tasty thing in the world. There's always that point where you're so full at dinner and somebody comes around and says, hey, do you want dessert? And you're like, that sounds great, but I'm too full.
Yeah, you're
That
not,
has
you're not
never,
enjoying it.
ever happened
You've
to
never
me.
been too full for dessert?
No.
Dude, what?
In the rare event where that's the case, we're talking about like, yes, but like give me 20 minutes.
Okay. That's reasonable.
Because we're talking about as separate, like dessert is a separate thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, I can't believe that. That's insane.
I
bet like
eat a lot of food.
get dessert like one time out of 100 at a restaurant, maybe.
I rarely, I'm not a big.
I turn
not
it
a-
down
not
a
a-
lot
yeah.
because I feel that I should.
Okay, but you would always eat it.
I would
Oh,
instead
yeah.
get
Crazy.
get another side dish
But you-
rather than dessert.
You
I would
eat
get,
sensibly though.
I would get
That's-
a bigger, weirder dinner.
Yeah.
you don't necessarily like destroy yourself with your entree.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
there's that.
That's where you're missing out. That's
Yeah.
where
I
the
mean,
fun
I
is.
mean, I do so that I have opportunities
Could.
where I can go nuts,
Okay, sure, that makes sense.
and when I do, it's look out.
All right. Well, now we have to end this podcast. That's too much talk about food. We need to go get some food and put it in ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Giant Bombcast. We will see you back here the same time next week. Bye.